Hello there, it's me, Eva. Today we'll be talking about a show that took me about 4 sittings to get through, and a lot of it I spent with my face rested in my palm, and it was a trying time for Eva watching shows on her laptop. My co-host Connor, he saw some endearing qualities in the show, and I suppose while speaking with him about them, some of those qualities shine through, such as monkey and chick, as well as monkey and
This is BBC Two. We're interrupting this programme to join BBC One for an important announcement.
This is XPW just announced fucking around black.
Okay, first off, by the time this episode's released, Kyushu Basho will be over, so I'm just gonna give my predictions now. Takakusho, baby, I love you, you got this. Okay, Eva, what about this XPW, huh?
oof. So, XPW, it's a company I've never really taken the time to watch in any way. I've had curiosity about it for a long time because of my sort of interest in this period, but yeah, never taken the dive until now. My sort of engagement with it would usually be like if I watch some from around the time period and fans are chanting "fuck Rob Black," something like that. I'll be like, oh, okay then.
Rob Black to you is this like unknowable being. Wasn't
Well,
he?
I'd looked him up on Wikipedia and like, yeah, it seems like a fucking scumbag. And I'd just like to say, yeah, I now completely understand the fuck Rob Black chants. I'm 100% there with it.
How is it you would have like learned of XPW proper? I think because like those like fuck Rob Black chants, they would have hinted it existed, but like would you have like had a moment where you directly learned, oh, this is XPW, this is a wrestling promotion, you know? Did you have that?
I think one of the main things I would have known about it was the sort of finish to the main event of this show. I'm assuming that you would have at least known about that, if not seen it before.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I would have.
So like, yeah, that's a YouTube
remember
video that's always going to just be around.
Yeah, like it's
And like
probably been
it
around
all feeds into like
over 10 years
the
now.
reputation of New Jack, like almost like, you know, oh, what's real about this guy? What's all work? Like it's one of the few sort of maintainers of kayfabe, whether unintentional or intentional, you know.
Yeah, like it feels quite silly to sort of think of like, oh, he did a shoot scaffold bump, you know, because like it feels like, you know, why would I ever do it? But then like, you know, you kind of see it and you kind of see New Jack and you think, okay, I can kind of believe that he would, you know, entertain thoughts of making this real and like shoot killing this Vic Graves character. But for me, I had this strange sort of engagement with like wrestling that wasn't WWE because like talking about like 2006 or something like that, right? And it was sort of like I would look up like w.com as like my home page, and you know that would be my main hub and all that, right? And then I'd go to like TNA.com and see like, wow, Canadian Destroyer, what's that? And like Raven, wow, okay, cool. This is the Dudley Dudley Bros.
The Dudley
Like,
Bros.
they've got new names. Wow. Brother runs, are you kidding me? Okay, and then after that, it would have just been like these weird things where I never actually watched any of like, you know, say ROH or like CCW, but I would have had this like, you know, almost wise sort of like thing, like, you know, I would come across like CCW, right? I would look at their logo and it'd say CCW is more extreme than ECW, and I would go, oh, I see. And then after this, I would see I would go into the XPW Wikipedia page, and it'd be like, XPW is more extreme than CCW. Like, it's all making sense now. And that would be the extent to which I get involved in any of it, you know. So I just had this sort of like, probably the same as like someone on like Reddit, you know, who shares like the New Jack video. It's like, wow, what the fuck is this? Oh
Yeah.
my god. So for me, delving into this and seeing like the beast as it is, it's not like a tell-all book about everything, but the stuff it pertains to and like the sort of thing basically what it is, you know, feels like a big world which you know, we barely scratch the surface off here.
Yeah.
XPW, extreme
I sort of
wrestling.
relate to what you were saying about like not actually like really watching anything, just sort of reading about it like back in the day. Like I watched
Yeah.
some CCW and a bit more ROH and a lot more TNA because of the wrestling channel that existed in the UK. XPW wasn't on that. Anything that wasn't either, you know, WWE or anything that was on the wrestling channel, I would only know about it by reading about it. I never really downloaded anything. Like, I wouldn't have known where to go really to do that sort of thing. I never tried to buy tapes because my mum would be like, "No, you're not giving your address to like a stranger." So
Sure. I'm remembering now that one of the big flirtations I had with promotions back in like maybe 2010 when I was 11 was I would be like vaguely trying to get into Chikara, you know, land of Quackenbush, and like I would never actually really watch it because like, you know, if you actually wanted to watch it, you had to go like buy it on like the Chikara website, you know. And so what I would do is I would go into the YouTube and I would watch like Eddie Kingston promo videos and then be like, wow, this seems like good wrestling. Oh, okay, cool. And then I would just like move on. I mean, like the World Cup was on at the time. Vuvuzelas were the rage. I had other stuff to think about. So yeah, and I don't know how much like this speaks to like you wrestling fans right now, because I do feel as if this does preserve somewhat in how people will perceive stuff as far as like, you know, other wrestling goes. It does feel as if it's sort of migrated over to this thing where we probably didn't have this doing this stuff back in the day, but like now there's like consensus people who you can like sort of put as like your token. I don't watch much outside of like WWE, but like, you know, this is like the like, okay, oh, I love Sekimoto, you know, he's the one like non-New Japan Japanese guy who I know, and like no one's going to debate it, so I'm just going to put him in my top 10 list. Meiko Satomura, I don't watch Josh Powersu, so, you know, but everyone knows she's great. She was in WWE, blah, blah, blah. So I'll put her in the top 10. And it's this sort of thing where, like, you know, you don't actually need to watch all this stuff. You can just, like, through, like, you know, watching, like, maybe, like, a match here and there, as well as through, like, osmosis, you can kind of get a feel for the wrestling scene that is quite vague and, like, often uninformed, it must be said. Similar to how, you know, we would just go into Wikipedia and be like, ah, yes, I've heard of XPW before. So, yeah, XPW Freefall. What venues is that?
the Grand Olympic Auditorium in Los Angeles, California. So we're in there.
What do you think of this venue?
It seemed like it could host something much better than this.
That's what I was thinking, was that, like, you know, it's a venue with, like, proper, like, architectural epic, you know, sort of, like, structures that you'd read about in, like, fucking, like, you know, if you're studying design, you know, and so it just looks like a really beautiful place. It's just that, like, you know, with the lighting that XPW uses for this show, like, their paltry crowd of, like, you know, maybe, like, 1,500, it looks fine, right? But they have a scaffold set up the entire show, and, you know, if you go upwards, like, you know, to the top of the scaffold, you can see that the entire top level is empty.
Yes.
You know, they're using only a tiny little bit, and it's a bit like, you know, you didn't really think this through, Rob Black, but it's okay.
First thing that we see on this video of the pirated copy of XPW Freefall is we see a legal warning telling us that if we watch this without authorization, we're going to fucking jail, mate.
Yeah, you could be prosecuted. And then, like you say...
Noted law abider Rob Black. People think Rob Black is candy, that you could just steal his shows and he won't have you executed. But Rob Black ain't the sweet boy.
People think Rob Black is a baby. You could just steal candy from him. And then the tape says that these XPW guys, they are trained professionals. Once again, a lie.
Yeah, fucking right. But I thought, second of all, they spell professionals with 2 F's and 1 S. So yeah, they're really hammering it home that this is a professional organisation here.
Yeah, and then like they round this off by saying don't do any of these moves, and then they just say enjoy the tape, full stop. So it's really that well here, and this show doesn't have an intro. This is just like a commercial release, and it feels as if it just decided not to do an intro. So after the graphic for like XPW Freefall goes all over the place, what happens is we get I think this is where we get the first sight of like the the transition that XPW is through. And this transition is the XPW logo exploding on the screen. The XPW logo exploding on and then the sound you hear the sound you hear is just like so basically all we get separating everything in the show is just a fart. It's like
yeah. XPW farts its way into our lives.
XPW free fart. So tell me who's on the call for this show.
It is Larry Rivera and the worst person to ever live, Chris Kloss.
Oh, come on now. Chris Kloss, the best RWX fame. You don't like him?
No, I do not. I've only seen like little clips of Wrestling Society X and like that. That seems like ridiculous in a sort of fun way. But I fucking hate this cunt. I've written so many violent fantasy notes that I'm not sure I should even read out because I'll be sectioned.
That's quite funny because I didn't actually recognise him as Chris Kloss first. I'm a very big Wrestling Society X fan, but I had a bit of trouble recognising him until he got directly referred to as Chris. I sort of realised, oh, this is that guy. And it kind of informs more his whole thing, and it's quite a good dynamic these guys have. Larry Rivera, really? He has this thing where so I actually did see I looked on the XPW Wikipedia page that's where I found out Larry Rivera's name, and it described the commentary, and I think I better pull it up actually right now because the wording of it is quite amusing. Here we go. The announce team for XPW consists of Chris Kloss and Larry Rivera, with Kloss doing the play-by-play and Rivera taking on the roles of heel color commentator. Kloss's trademark was screaming expletives or shrieking a high-pitched scream when something shocking occurred in the match, typically ruining the effect of the high spot. Rivera often sided with Rob Black, and his trademark announcing consisted of referring to Kloss as Chico, using Chico in nearly all of his sentences, and occasionally wandering into Spanish announcing. On paper, that seems like a simple enough thing, Someone just says Chico a lot, right?
Yeah. He certainly does say it.
Here's the thing, though, is that the reason that I got confused about the names is just that, because, okay, first of all, he says Chico basically every single sentence he says, right?
Yeah.
Not only that, he doesn't actually say Chico. It's just that he just goes, and so I spent the first match of the show just wondering I guess that guy's name is Jake. So yeah, it's a very good announcing team. We'll get to know him later on.
Is it a good announcing team, Connor? Is it?
I had fun.
Okay, well, I did not. So this might be the biggest sort of clash of opinions that we've had so far of the show. I absolutely did not have fun with the show. Okay, I mean Rivera and his shit, like it's funny for a bit, like yeah, but it does sort of get old to me quite quickly. I did do my own research on Rivera.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, he used to be in a death metal band called Brujeria. Or Brujeria. I'm not sure if the J is supposed to be silent because he's like Mexican.
Yeah, just doesn't mean it's not part of his Spanish lessons yet. We don't know.
So yeah, this guy's a death metal guy, which is I found quite surprised.
That's quite cool.
Yeah, if I had a gun with one bullet and Rivera and Kloss in front of me, Kloss would be shot, not Rivera. I would let him live. But if I had two bullets, then why not?
Why not? Sure. well, I would have had two bullets. I would, shoot.
Wait, no, I'd shoot Kloss in the balls twice.
I would murder Chris Kloss, right? And then I would sort of just shoot the ground in front of Larry Bird, just like, next time I won't miss. Watch it. sort of like John Wayne or something. But in any case, so this commentary duo is here for the show, and then first guy comes out, this fella, this Dilbert-looking guy, Scott's not.
He does
he's
look
an
like
office
Dilbert.
worker of some kind.
He comes out to Whip It by Devo. Or Devo? Devo. I never heard that out loud. Devo. He's wearing thick rim glasses, a blue office style shirt, and a tie.
A tie too.
And
yeah, it's a nice premise, I suppose. And then so his opponent is a person we've covered before. It's Vinny Massaro again, right?
Yeah, Shitty Vinny.
Shitty Vinny, yeah. Is that where you're going with?
He's being a fucking Italian, You know the
right.
shit.
So, in King of Indies, he was just sort of he was trying to be a damn Massawer, but here, he's embracing his Italian sort of thing, because he comes out to the Sopranos theme, and then Chris Kloss is oh, who is this? Oh, does this have to do with the money that Rob Black owes the mafia? And imagine, if you will, this being one's first XPW show, and it's 20 seconds in, the owner is accused of being in league with the mob.
Yeah. Kloss also says, "What do you know about this Vinny Mascara, Larry?"
And then Larry just go, Chick, I think it's Vinny Massaro. And then just go, what? And he's like, oh, never mind. So, Larry will try to stop this nonsense, but at a certain point, he just can't bother with it. So, this match happens, and the whole thing is that, Chris Kloss, he's racist against Italians. He keeps just mixing up Vinny Mazzaro's name with various types of pasta and other such Italian cuisine. So a certain figure of the church over in CCW would really appreciate this guy, I think.
Yeah.
So and it's quite weird because this match, I think, is kind of good. Do you have thoughts on this?
I didn't really have thoughts on this match being particularly good in any way. It was inoffensive enough, sure. We're going to get some amusing things with Rivera's pronunciation or non-pronunciation of the letter J. So when Scott's not gets crushed on the top rope, he says, "You got caught right in the crown jewels."
That's good. I don't know, this Scott Snot guy, he's pretty cool. He hits people hard, and even though Vinny Massaro, he just kind of, just doing the sort of buff on goal, sort of gestures and all that to try to supplement his okay wrestling. But Scott is able to do okay, and then there's further accusations of Rob Black owing the mob money, as in if I were like a regular old John Gotti, if a guy owed me money, I would think, hey, that wrestling promotion you got, hey, I'm not gonna buy it out or sort of use it as collateral or something. I'm just gonna send one of my guys over to work a match. He really likes wrestling. He likes this Mr. Hibbert Misawa guy. So it's like an okay match, and I think it sort of highlights Scott's not. He's cool.
It's a pretty large crowd for this kind of show. It's not well mic'd up at all, so it's difficult to make out the chants and how good the atmosphere is in general. But they do seem to like Scott's not.
And then Vinny Massaro, like, he gets the advantage. He does his pump handle move, right, where he gets Scott in the position to do a pump handle, and like gets like the hands like tucked under the balls, right, and then like Scott has this like reaction I've never seen someone do with pump handle. It's like, oh. Like, he just looks around, just like at this impending doom of his, and he's like, oh. That's cool. And then like Vinny Massaro, he hits some move of some sort, and he gets that victory. And so that's alright then, XPW Freefall.
Yeah, so this match wasn't up to anything special, but I'd sort of braced myself for a worse opener than that. I thought, like, oh man, what's XPW going to have as an opener? Yeah, it was alright.
And now you know what it's time for?
It's time to get courageous. Oh, it's also time for the dweebiest guy ever, according to commentary. So a guy called Preston Ascot III, he comes out with the dweebiest guy ever, Kevin Kleinrock, I believe.
Yeah.
So
Dorco dude, what's he doing out here?
Preston's he's doing like a rich kid sort of sweater around the neck gimmick, like proto NJF, I guess.
Yeah, this is quite a tour de force of like bigotry, because first of all, because of this look, the XPW Freefall, they call him a faggot, right? They just chat that shit right in his face. But then the way that Preston Ascot decides to counter this is that he decides to go, "Oh, I hate being in the city. So many illegal immigrants in the crowd." So you know what you're getting here. You know what you're getting here. Come on, I'm so real black. Oh.
Yeah. Compared to other stuff like in the show, I mean, this was what it was. They take it further later on, and it gets like personally infuriating to me. But
for now, Preston Ascot, he cannot compete. He does not say why, but we're not going to get to him wrestle, and that's a real shame.
No.
So, Dorco dude, he announces that they've got a new bud, and guess what? It's Evan Courageous. Evan Courageous, he makes his way out, and it seems all well and good. He's part of this unit as such, and then here comes Psychosis. He is the opponent.
Well, Kloss again. He asks Rivera what he knows about Courageous. He says, "Chico, I don't know, man." So like I would have probably stopped asking him anything like long ago at this point, because like even I know Evan Courageous, he was in Free Count, and then after that like you tagged with Jamie Noble in very late WCW, and I haven't even watched any of that like period of WCW yet.
Doesn't Chris Cross even say, former World Cruiserweight Champion? It's Courageous is here. Like, why do you need to ask Larry Rivera then? You already know.
Yeah, there's some fucking info about Evan Courageous, Rivera. Go on, man. You got to say, I don't know, Chico.
Sure, I don't know. So yeah, this match then gets underway, and it's quite fine enough. Like Larry says that Psychosis is a super estrella, so that's cool. And then there's a point where soon Evan Courageous gets Psychosis down on the ground, and he starts gyrating his crotch, right? And then Chris Clossie just says, "Go, and now look at a little sucking and jive and hear from Courageous. you can hear the ladies and a couple shady dudes screaming away at the top of lungs. Shady dudes.
What about when Siko says he lifts up Courageous from a pinfall, and Rivera says, "Oh, I don't agree with that strategy, Chico. You should try to get the free count when you get no pun intended." So he does fucking know shit about Ever Courageous. Why did you say it?
Oh, I didn't even catch that. Oh,
Yeah. He's like,
Larry can make puns? Oh my god.
apparently he can.
Wow, that's fucked up. And yeah, this match, it was fine. I mean, did you like it?
Yeah, it was okay enough. Probably liked it about the same as you. Like a big Psychosis fan. This is obviously not in his top 250 matches, I would imagine, but you know, it's fine. It's fine enough. I haven't seen much of Courageous, but he seems fine too.
The way this ends is that the Orco dude, he attempts to help Courageous by, like, you know, hand him a chair, and, like, you know, Chris, he goes fucking nuts at, like, you know, him holding the chair up first, goes like, "Look at the Orco dude, he can barely hold that thing. What a nerd." So that's fine, whatever. And then, you know, this backfires, and then, like, Sikosis hits a leg drop on him. You know, 1, 2, you're damn right it is. Yeah, cool. And then Evan, he's very mad with Dorco dude and Prescott, so he beats him up. Preston, and then there's this really miraculous exchange on commentary, because as Evan leaves, Chris goes, "It looks like he's lying for himself." And then Larry goes, "What do you mean? What do you mean by that, Chico?" And then he goes, "He's his own man." I says, "Okay." Glad we cleared that up. So yeah. Next segment.
Oh yeah, that's what happens every time a segment ends. It's just like
it's not even like it's not even a big explosion. It's like it's just like a few percent down, mate. It's like, yeah, it's great. Okay, so after this part, what comes on?
it's D is here. It's just D. This guy apparently used to be called Dynamite D, and then he decided, you know what? I'm sick of all you cunts being able to Google me all the time. I'm just D now. Good luck searching that.
All this time, I've been watching Seedling shows and looking at the stage like, let's get D. What could D be? But now I know. Nana's mission. She wanted this fucking XPW mid-carder.
Oh, what? There was signs in CCW shows for, like, D?
No, I'm talking about Seedling.
Oh.
Yeah.
I've never even heard of that place.
That is cool. Anyway, D is a real...
He is going to be facing Pogo the Clown.
Yes, this is true. So, D...
FMW alumni, Pogo the Clown.
This is quite true. You're right. He comes out and it's very confusing, right? Because he goes around and he starts like high-fiving everyone in the crowd, right? And okay, so it's weird for a couple of reasons. Because this is the first instance of something that's very good about this show, and that's like during this, like, you know, they'll be commenting on D and his adventures in XPW, and then Chris Kloss just goes, he goes, oh.
This is not a very good thing. This is not a very good thing, Connor. Don't get me furious.
So, you know, Chris Kloss just like coming during the entrance of D. You know, a different type of D going on in the commentary booth. And so he gets in the ring, and it seems as if he's a big baby face, right?
Yeah.
And then Larry goes, "Quiet, this goes picture." That's cool. So then he says that he's been working his ass off for XPW, and so to get Rob Black's respect, however, he says, "I gotta fight the biggest, the baddest, the best, the meanest, the ugliest, the craziest, the most iconic wrestler in XPW." And he's like, "That's right, Poke, I'm talking about you. Get down here." So yeah, Pogo the Clown comes out.
What do you think about what do you think about D's fit, the black vest and jeans?
He reminds me a lot of Tyson Kidd's one-time manager Jackson Andrews. You remember Jackson Andrews?
No, I've never had that name in my life. I wrote that he had proto MJF, and now, well, here's proto wacky Dean Ambrose.
Oh,
A slightly more well-known wrestler than. I've already forgotten that cunt's name that he just said.
Wait a minute. My blackboard. D. Ian. Ambrose. What the fuck?
You can't spell Dean Ambrose without D.
WWE, you sicken me.
Wow.
You sicken me.
Look at this blatant plagiarism.
Blatant. So Pogo the Clown, he comes down, and Pogo the Clown, I hadn't seen before this. I just knew of your hyping of him as presumably a good guy. Like, you just tweeted his name out. You just came out and said it. Pogo the Clown.
Yeah.
So I saw him, and it seemed like, wow. I don't know if this guy's really a clown. The way people were talking about in the group chats, it made it seem like he was going to be John Wayne Gacy, but what he looked like was just like a guy wearing a red jumpsuit, and he had sun paint on him, and he was kind of just being a boorish big guy, and his reputation precedes him, in XPW, because he comes down, and the commentary, they're just really encouraged about this, because Larry just goes, "This is such chick," and then Chris Kloss, he goes, "D challenging Pogo the Clown? You gotta be kidding me!" You want to talk about this is the fucking this is the version of Eric Garchill you get at Lidl's.
I noticed a sign in the crowd. The word "what" has been crossed out and replaced with "twat." I guess because in America they say "twat."
Oh, this makes sense.
So it kind of rhymes. Rhymes in America, but not over here.
What? Twat? Screw you, XPW guy. You fucking. I didn't think about that. So, yeah, Big D is challenging Pogo. This guy's nuts. Hey, you want to talk about crowd signs? How about the sign that says "Hobo the Clown"?
Lobo the Clown?
Hobo!
Oh, hobo. Wow, that is so clever.
Yeah, it's because he's gay. And then, D gets ring announced by this. What do you think of the ring announcer in XPW? What do you think of his whole look?
I can't quite remember. Describe him.
Well, it's he looks like he's wearing a coordinated fit of the times, of a scene that he was in. It's sort of he has shorts on and kind of a formal jacket, but also he's got just punk shirts underneath it, and also his hair is fully cornrowed out, some of it's spurting off in some directions. It's it's a strange mishmash of professional and also totally not professional. And so he ring announces D, but then Pogo, it gets his turn, and then he just gets a guy out there. He doesn't want no ring announcement. He just wants to, as it turns out, arm drag D. That's what Pogo the Clown wants to do.
Yeah, I didn't expect this guy to be coming out doing Ricky Steamboat tributes.
Yeah, this is Pogo the Clown, sneaky good worker. Yeah, this is a very strange match. because they don't really go like how you'd want to. Like, I think that if you wanted to have this be like the first impression one has of Pogo the Clown, as it is for both of us, you'd want it to be one where like he actually shows off this reputation that like he's amassed, where like, you know, oh, he kills people, he is very mean in the ring. But here it's just like D sort of wrestles like a Yoshinari Ogawa match with him, where like, you know, Pogo doesn't do much. He just gets like beat up by these like very tiny moves, and it's kind of weird. Then like he'll like come off like a big like lariats like that, right? But then then this veritable nexus of their time storm the ring. It's the Jobbers Union, Eva.
The Jobbers Union. It's like the Job Squad of a few years ago in the WWF. And what was that team with like Heath Slater and Adam Rose and a few years ago?
They were the Social Outcasts.
Social Outcasts, yeah.
Yeah, these guys, none of them are ever named. They just sort of like come in there. And so what happens is that D and Pogo, in this time of uncertainty, of struggle, they decide, okay, let's put our match aside. We must ally against these jobbers. But then D just like betrays him. He hits Pogo with a chair and all that. And D has joined the Jobbers Union. You know, why D? Why? And you know, like all the guys, they just like, you know, D is direction orders. They won't listen to D. You know, I didn't even know what's going on here. So then he gets on the mic, right? He hog ties Pogo the Clown. And then he gets on the mic and, you know, he's saying like, you know, a bunch of stuff like, Rob Black, you piece of shit, I trusted you, I gave you my promotion, I used to be in SSCW, whatever the fuck.
Yeah, so
and I
Southern California Championship Wrestling, I looked it up.
SCCW, I used to have that and you took it away from me, I'm not listening to you anymore. And then like Lars goes, it's fucking drop chick. So, you know, that it seems cool.
I like when D orders the jobbers to attack Pogo while Clough screams, But why? But why? What is the point? And man, if there's in a mood with a capital M right there.
What is the point? D's point is that, well, D's point in the promo is that he loves professional wrestling. So now he is out of XPW. He's back in SCCW. And furthermore, he's decided to re-embrace SEOs because now his name is Dynamite D again. And then he looks down at Pogo, and still from Mick goes, so Pogo, fat fuck. And then you know, so on and so forth. And then he just pins him while he's hogtied and wins. And you know, this was a very strange match, a very strange angle. D wins this match. It's good for him. And some guy, like I think in the ring, he just goes, "You're a bunch of fucking slags." And then,
did they really say slags?
Yeah, they did.
I've never heard an American say that in my life.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what they meant by it, but it seemed like it was an insult. Then Love just goes, "Jerk!" And then after this, we hear this, right? And what a sight we see when we come back, isn't it, Eva?
We see the Sandman.
We do.
He's mid promo apparently. Like for some reason they cut like the start of the segment out. Like he says, "You know what this man's problem is? He's a whore." But before we've even seen who Sandman is talking about, like fantastic editing.
This promo is about Sandman versus Supreme. Have you ever seen Supreme before?
Yes. No, I've heard a few things. You know that he's like XPW's deathmatch guy.
Mm-hmm.
So I was quite intrigued to see him.
Right, yeah. And were you quite intrigued to see Sandman?
Yeah, I'm always pretty intrigued to see the Sandman, to be quite honest.
Sure,
This has got to be like one of the last times where Sandman would be booked to not just do like his Metallica entrance and like hit people with a cane and like drink beer off a girl's tits and all that.
Yeah, it's
right?
like
Because that's all he's been doing for like most of post ECW. So like I was quite surprised to see him like oh, let's have Sandman as a heel when he hates hardcore wrestling.
Yeah,
It's quite
Sandman
strange.
is,
It's quite strange.
he does this like nice big promo, and it's like, King of the Deathmatch. Hey, I ain't seen anybody die lately. And then,
Yeah,
like,
that was a good line. I was thinking yeah, I'm sure Sandman is a good heel. He seems like he can do this shit, but like, come on, man, ECW's fucking dead, and it's all these people lived for. Throw the losers a bone.
Yeah.
Let them come out to into Sandman.
Yeah, I mean, like, I know that later in the show, like, Chris Claus sort of remarks that it's the quietest they've ever seen, like, a Sandman match, you know? Like, people aren't reacting to him. It's probably because they're fucking confused as to why he's doing this role, you know?
Yeah.
But I suppose Rob Black knows best.
But he does seem like he can, you know, he can do it. It's just like, should he be doing it?
It's like a very strange version of Austin's 2001 heel run.
Of whose 2001 heel run?
Austin.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that guy.
That guy, yeah.
the biggest star of the business of me.
Come on, do voice about it.
Well, people think Sandman's is candy, you know, but he ain't your sweet boy. He ain't gonna hit you with a candy cane.
49ers are out to lunch if they think this position's gonna work.
I don't want the whole meal.
You do want the whole meal. Oh, fuck. Gonna fucking destroy my chest because of Deuce. but yeah, Sandman, he keeps going on. He's like, maybe you're a mark for yourself and all this stuff, you know. He's like, I'm a superstar. I don't need the Singapore cane. And then, like, Supreme, he gets on the mic and he's quite mad because he challenges Sandman to a death match for his King of the Death Matches title. And, you know, Sandman, he's not going for it. And so Supreme, like, he has a way of negotiating. So he just goes, can everyone say pussy? And people people start saying pussy. And then Sandman, he just goes like, hey, don't call me a pussy because I ain't no pussy. So when the match gets booked,
Supreme, he does this bit, right, which clearly requires like crowd participation, but because the crowd isn't well mic'd, all I see is a man furiously pacing around saying, "Who am I? What's this fucking company?" like he's dealing with some case of like severe memory loss. Who am I? Where is this place?
Oh man. Oh, Supreme is such a tragic figure already. One segment in. So yeah, then we get the and then we get to a little thing I like to call, and also the XPW like to call it, a TV title gauntlet. You wouldn't have read the card before this, would you?
For this one, I did, I think, because I checked it out to see like if this would be a good one to sort of check out from XPW to do an XPW show, and I saw names like, you know, Angel the Hardcore Homo, who I've heard a lot about, and Supreme, and obviously I knew about the main, so like I did actually have a peek at this one.
Right, yeah, because like when I saw this on the card, because like I just sort of liked it because, like, you know, I couldn't expect myself to know everyone, you know, and like as I learned, they weren't going to really do much in the way of chyrons, so, you know, just had to kind of read stuff. And so yeah, this match was for a TV title held by Chaos.
Yes, spelled with a K.
Yes, that's true. And he's part of what's the stable he's part of? The Enterprise.
The Enterprise, that's the one. Yeah, there's lots of like heel factions being dicks to each other, which, you know, is that's always great.
This here is the thing, is that throughout the show there's the Black Army, the army of Rob Black, right?
Yeah.
And they are heels. Rob Black is a racist. He's in with the mob and all
Yeah.
that, right? That seems fine. He does a lot of like things that like symbolize that he's a heel, and then it seems as if like the people he's feuding with are the Enterprise. They never pronounce the T, just Enterprise, and it seems as if obviously they'd be the baby faces, but they are also heels.
Yeah.
So each side of this main feud, they are assholes. They ridicule the crowd for wasting their time on XPW, and it just feels like
I did get the impression, like, man, Rob Black fucking hates his audience. Like, for several points in the show, like, he really, like, he despises his fans.
Yeah, like, he resents just, like, his entire life. Even if he doesn't want to say it.
So Chaos is accompanied by GQ Money and Veronica Kane. We'll see more of them later on.
This is time for the end. It's time because like Veronica Kane comes out and Chris Claus sees the dread and goes, oh.
Fucking cunt. Fucking cunt. I wanted to, like, every time he did that, I imagined, like, me, like, just driving my elbow into his eye socket or something like that.
Just, I can't believe one of the main things I would have heard about XPW is it's a porn promotion, It's a promotion that worked with porn stars and was, like, all sleazy and all that. It's just that I didn't
porno
expect
company.
The porno company! Oh, what a throwback. Warm in my heart here. Wow. Eric. Okay, but yeah, so the porno company, I didn't expect it would manifest in, to put over how hot these girls are. The main announcer will come a lot on site when he sees them. It's just crazy. So Chaos, he comes out, and then here comes Angel, and Angel had been hyped up previously by Dorco dudes. He said, don't worry, Angel, he's coming out later, and now it's later. So he comes out. He reminds me of the thing where you were saying like the Christopher Street connection. They would have been in JPW, where they would still be like the gays, but they were presented as if they were competent at wrestling.
Yeah.
This feels sort of like that, because like Angel's thing is that he's got like what's the term for it? It's a high cut top or a low cut top? Crop top. Yeah. So yeah, he's got a crop top, and he comes out to Barbie Girl. And Barbie Girl, someone's used that as a theme song because it's got a really big beat to it. It could really work as like a big thing to get you in the mood for the graps. And he comes out and like he looks all twinky and gay and whatnot. So and then Chris Claus is like, oh, it's very different lifestyle. So, don't even know why they bother.
I will say, like, considering everything else we saw in the show, like, Angel the Hardcore Homo, I was expecting it to be slightly more offensive. It was still kind of offensive, for sure, but I was expecting, the Ring of Honor first match level. Like, how is Gabe surpassing these people in... Actually, I found out this show happened on the same day as the Era of Honor begins. Gabe was outdoing these guys in terms of disgusting homophobia this day. Well played, Gabester.
Imagine ever defeating Rob Black in such a contest. But yeah, so Chaos's thing is that he does not take off the belt when he is fighting, so he just keeps the belt on. It looks stupid.
He had it on the whole time, right? So I only noticed it maybe in the next match or whatever.
It's like a sort of thing that you'd see on like King and Tekken, where let's make sure people know it's a pro wrestler. He's got a championship belt, except it kind of looks silly in real life.
I quite like this little touch. I mean, mainly when he did frog splashes and stuff. It's like, oh, that's got to be quite nasty.
Eva, are you kidding me? The one thing I don't like about this XPW show, you like?
Yes, motherfucker. Wait, is this really the one thing that you didn't like about this show?
So anyway,
I
Angel and Chaos. Angel and Chaos, they get to it. Angel does a go behind, and oh my, oh God, Angel was enjoying it. So it's because he is homosexual. That's his very different lifestyle. He loves to molest people because that's what you do when you love boys.
I like Rivera saying, if Angel wins the TV title, it will be a huge step forward for gay and lesbian rights. And Cluster replies, "What the hell are you talking about?"
Did he say that?
Yes.
Oh my God! I can't. Oh wow! I can't believe you fucking missed that. Larry Rivera, ally. Wow.
Man, he's practically the Holtzman.
Check. This is the safe space. LGBT go. Check.
Oh man.
Oh my God.
I don't think we're at the level of including the T and the Q yet, but probably not even the B, but
That's true.
maybe.
Damn, what the fuck? I had this glimpse of being represented by Larry Rivera, but now it's gone.
Yeah.
So yeah, Angel is cool. He seems cool enough. This match is short. I think because it's a gauntlet match, and so it's just like they move stuff on, and then Chaos does some cool stuff. He gets a body slam mid-air. Then he does big pile driver for that 3 count. He's successfully defended once, but now it's time for the second guy. Who is it?
It's Confederate currency, Chris Hamrick.
Oh my God.
And this period of this gauntlet was probably my favourite sort of thing going on the show, because Chris Hamrick, most wrestling fans know what he brings, or at least most wrestling fans listen to this. He despises his own spine. He takes a lot of crazy bumps. Of course, the bump named after him, the Chris Hamrick bump, going through the ropes. This time, rather than it being like looking like a fucked up springboard, he was trying to drop the leg on the opponent who's rested on the second rope, but Chaos dodged. And he just eats shit, lands horribly. It looks great.
Yeah. And what did you think as well of the bump where he's on the apron, and then Chaos drop kicks him, and he doesn't fall down. He gets kicked in the back and he goes, "Oh!" and just fucking sent onto the floor.
Oh yeah, another great one. I'm surprised in you that you're being lenient on Chris Kloss, because he's fucking insufferable. He's trying to call literally everything. It's just the worst thing a commentator can do. I swear he was going to start going, and now he's inhaling some oxygen, and there we have it. He exhales carbon monoxide.
That'd have been funny. But what was also funny was at a certain point, Larry commenting on this spinal damage that Hamrick is going under. "Chick, snap like a toothpick." And then Chris Kloss, he does the same. It's I heard snap, and I've had this Rice Krispies metaphor in my head for a while. So he just goes, "Snap, crack, and popple indeed, Chico."
Snap, crack, and popple.
You know what I mean? Come on now.
Oh, that was your mistake. I thought that's what you said.
Is that? I'm feeling like that, but read your picture. I cannot speak. I'll be in trouble. So yeah, this is a nice match. It's definitely a lot more spots oriented, and that's cool because Hamrick can do those. Do you remember what the Chaostrophe is?
It's like a twist in Brainbuster from the top rope.
Ah, yeah, that's for Prim Away. That's true.
Yeah, this was probably my favourite thing. This portion of the gauntlet is probably my favourite thing on the show by some distance.
So then we got to the final guy in this.
They start acting like it's over. He just but another bonus guy. It's Nasawa Rongai. What's the deal with Nasawa Rongai, Connor? Because I mainly know him as a guy who turns up on a lot of 2000 cards. In fact, he seemed to be in North America more than Japan back then, almost.
Yeah.
He
Right.
apparently worked 19 fucking matches in Insane Clown Posse's Fed in 2007 alone.
Absolutely, he's down with the clown. Yeah, don't
Yeah.
ever think otherwise.
We need to get down with
Uh,
the clown at some point. We need to find like a bloody mania or something.
I was talking with Max one time where like he was saying that like he wanted to just like watch a bunch of GCW and like maybe one day like maybe he or me will get tapes stuff like that. But anyway, Nosawa, he came up in like DDT and like even just from his debut he was in Mexico. So I don't know if I'd really say like his like thing in America is just that like he wants to like be big American wrestler. I'm sure he had like interest in it, but it was mainly just Mexico, and obviously America would be close by, so he just like hang around a lot there.
Yeah, I think he's
but
going to turn
yeah.
up in CZW this in 2002 in a show that we'll cover, and he's done like PWG stuff. Like
Yeah, absolutely. It's been around like a whole lot of places.
but
and,
nowadays he doesn't seem to have been to America in a long time.
Yeah, I'm just checking like his 2019, and yeah, he's not been like in Mexico for a long time. But Nosawa is like a guy who is one of the things I absolutely admire about him. Is just like how much of like how much of a market is, just like in a very like nice, unapologetic way. As in like he's not been to Mexico like for a while now, like as a wrestler, but he'll still manage to get like Mil Mascaras over, so like he can like job to his crossbody block again, and that's some of the purest stuff ever. Do you know like the story behind like his ring name, Nosawa Rongai?
Nope.
Okay, there's a time where like Nosawa would have been in All Japan as a junior, and at the time Kaz Hayashi was the champion, and so like what would have happened is that Kaz Hayashi would have been interviewed backstage afterwards, and he would have been like, he would have probably just been like, I don't have many people to challenge me anymore. Hitsukata, I don't know about that guy. Jimmy Yang, I don't know. And then he got to Nosawa, and he said, Nosawa, out of the question. And in Japanese, out of the question means Rongai. So, and like, in light of this grave insults, he adapted it into his ring name, Nosawa Rongai.
Wow.
Yeah, it's very cool. It's very cool. So yeah, he pops up here. He is here now. It's very cool to me that like even here, like, because I don't know why I really thought it, but because like Tokyo Gurentai is still around as a stable and like a promotional, I did sort of think of it as like a thing that been around recently, but he's still wearing it here, the shirt and with the logo. And I'm pretty sure Fuchita back in TCW Best of the Best was wearing it too. Gurentai just means hooligan, so he's been a hooligan all his life, Eva.
Right.
That's the thing about Nosawa. Larry, he says, I think it's like Chris Kloss accuses Nosawa being fishy, right? But then Larry goes,
True. Your fish thing is with Nosawa with the Sochiros.
and then Chris Kloss goes, stop it, man, stop it. So
Yeah, Chris Kloss, he smells a setup, but I don't care what that motherfucker thinks.
did you like when Nosawa freaked out at the scaffold?
I didn't notice that.
Yeah, like while he's standing on the outside of the ring, he sort of like bumps into the scaffold. He's like, oh, what the hell? Like he really doesn't notice it, and I like that sort of stuff. Like, I don't know of like much other stipulations wherein like the construction for it is sort of present throughout. So like stuff like maybe like I don't know, helmet.
Believe it or not, I watched In Your House 5 from WWF last night, where they have the hog pen like outside for the whole match. And I just want to point out that there's a segment where Savio Vega gets beat up by Santa Claus because it's in December. Ted DiBiase is cutting a promo. It's like, you believe in Santa Claus? And Vince McMahon on commentary goes, stop disparaging Santa Claus! I like laughed for like 2 minutes, probably at that. That was a pretty fun show, to be honest.
Yeah, I was going to ask you that. It was good, yeah. That's good.
That's fucking amazing match with Bret Hart and the British Bulldog. It's better than the SummerSlam match in Wembley, in my opinion. IMO.
Yeah, now this makes sense because I was talking about this with my dad when that time that he called me in because he had reached MLW on the TV and he was like, "Look, son, it's the wrestling." I was like, "Oh," and then we were watching this crash match, right, with like the New Heart Foundation featuring, Davis Boy Smith Jr. and Brian Pillman Jr. They were wrestling, and then I told him like, "Oh, that guy's the son of British Bulldog." It's like, "Oh, is that right?" Yeah. And then I told him that British Bulldog smoked a lot of crack, but David Boy Smith Jr. he doesn't do that. And he was like, "Oh, does he really smoke crack?" And I told him that according to Brett, the whole SummerSlam '92 thing was that on a day of or thereabouts, just quite close to the match, he was like, Bulldog called him like, "Brett, folks, I've been smoking crack the whole night. I forgot the match entirely." So, I could imagine that a match where Bret Hart is just guiding this crack-addled guy through a match is probably worse than the one where Bulldog's probably just on cocaine. That's probably better.
Yeah.
I believe it.
Yeah.
Nosawa in this match, a lot of cool touches for fans of that game, because there's a near fall here where he does the Roche ref spot. You know what I'm talking about?
You have to describe it, I think.
It's like when you'd often see if Roche gets speared by LA Park, right? And then he's getting pinned, and then 1, 2, he doesn't kick out, but he just grabs the ref's wrist, and then that counts as him evading the pinfall, and it makes no sense, but it always looks really cool. So Nosawa did that there, and Chris Cross, I think he just goes "Oh, I've never seen that before in my wrestling career," and all that. So yeah, that's cool. And then GQ Money. It's important to note that Nosawa is out there with Guy. Whoever he is, he's getting involved in this damn competition. So GQ Money is Chaos's manager, as he comes in to even the odds. And so there's a bunch of stuff with the championship belts.
I noted some stuff about when he hits him with a belt. The camera cuts away like it's the fucking Sunday morning edit of SmackDown. So I thought this shit was supposed to be extreme.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah. So we didn't see the belt shot, but Kloss is here to hopefully let us know that Nosawa, he didn't get all of it.
He didn't get all of it, that's right.
For fuck's sake.
What do you think of that refrain of wrestling commentators? They'll try and cover something that's I didn't get all of it.
I mean, for an obvious botch, I guess forgivable, but for just kind of shitty execution, I guess it's you're just underlining the shitty execution.
Yeah. There are more graceful ways to go about it, I think.
Yeah.
So Chaos, he's meant to be exhausted by his time, and he kind of is trying to sell it that way, but when there's so much stuff going on, belt shenanigans, GQ Money, his general presence, it just falls to the wayside. And then I do remember now that there's a point where Nosawa is kind of taking his time, right? He's setting up important spots with the belt and whatnot, right? And Chris Clutchy just go, "Why is he not pinning him right now? This is a big mistake." And then Larry Rivera, he's an expert machine, goes,
Chick, it's not the Japanese spirit. Needs to wait for him to get up or cannot be honorable.
Yeah. What did you think of Rivera at various points just calling Nosawa a Japanese guy?
Larry, you're trying your best.
It's 3 syllables you need to remember, Larry.
That's true. So yeah, Chaos, he overcomes the odds, and then he blockbusters Nosawa and beats him. He's the best TV champion ever. He's beat 3 guys in one night. They're not even on TV yet. So, but in any case, it's appreciated. Nosawa gets right up afterwards and just spits on the belt and throws it. So that's cool.
Yeah.
Overall, this gauntlet, do you think it was a good use of time?
It was alright. I liked the Hamrick bit quite a lot. the Nassau bit a bit less than that, and then the Angel bit a bit less than that. But you know, it was an okay use of the time, considering other things that they could have used as time. You know.
This is quite true. So yeah, what's next?
We can move on to well, according to Chris Kloss, La Familia are coming out. La Familia.
La Familia. No, I'm willing to think that like that itself is part of a gimmick because you know, like La Familia come out and it's just like these like you know luchadors like Damian 666 and Juventud. Juvi's there, yeah, and like Psychosis and all these
Halloween,
guys.
Psychosis, Moscow de la Merced, which he's better known as X-Fly, I think nowadays.
Ah,
right?
I see.
And Halloween, he was
so,
Cyclope in WCW. So yeah, just some context.
Yeah, sure. So yeah, like they all come out and like Chris, he starts doing this stuff about like these guys are real cool, dude. We were hanging out and we were drinking cervezas.
These guys are my homies, dog.
Yeah.
What the fuck's this guy on? I want to slap him so bad.
He's high on life, Eva. So yeah, like La Familia are here, and like Hoovy, like he gets on the mic. It's like, let me speak on this. Rob Black, you son of a bitch. so he is.
I love the bit in Hoovy's promo where he says, "Don't think that because Conan is not here that we're not juicy, baby." And yeah,
It's still juicy.
I also have to fight off this misconception a lot. Just because Conan isn't here with me, don't think I'm not juicy. Never think that. In fact, some people think I'm candy. But I ain't the sweet girl. So yeah, don't just assume shit about me because Conan isn't here backing me up. I'm juicy as fuck. I can get it done in the juice game.
La Familia, they're very mad at Rob Black for just being Rob Black and doing all this stuff in XPW.
Yeah,
and so then
he calls him out. He calls out Rob Black, and I'm right. How fat is this fuck exactly? And hey, what the fuck? He's only moderately fat. I mean, he looks disgusting. Like he just exudes like piece of shit energy. But if
Absolutely.
I was gonna cut like an epic shoot promo on him, I would say like 100 things about this motherfucker's appearance and his life before he's touched on his weight.
Way before the fat thing. You know what actually amazed me of is like how I heard once that in TNA when Hulk Hogan was there, he wouldn't allow you to make fun of like actual things. Like his hair or his like skin or whatever stuff.
My smear article was right.
Yeah, it was quite right. So, like, whenever someone opposed him in the ring, he just had to go like, "What do you think of that, brother?" And the people go, "Oh, that's the thing he says." So yeah, Rob Black comes out, and so too does the the rest of like the Black Army. Nosawa and the other guys, and then everyone go, "Oh." Yeah, so for some reason the girls, Lacey Borden is the one on Black's side, right? Because they're TF and BF, right?
For now, we really could have done with some Messiah on the show, but I guess he's just gone or something.
I think so, yeah. So he's already in CW by this time, I think. Yeah. So yeah, the girls are out here and they're wearing like dirndl outfits, and those show off boobies, so a lot for Chris Kloss to enjoy, and Larry reacted to this. It's really funny because at a certain point, when Chris starts coming a lot, Larry just goes, "Chick, focus." And then, Rob Black gets to the ring, and Larry must be really marveling at the coolness exuding off this piece of shit. 'Cause he's like, "Chick,
How can I join the Black Army?
So it's a bunch of like stalling with regard to the microphone, like Rob Black just like, you know, doing all this shit.
Here's where I started writing like loads of like in-depth violent notes about what I would do to Chris Kloss. You know, some time's passed since I watched the show. I don't necessarily have that hate in my heart, but you know that skit in the Wu-Tang's 36 Chambers album where they start coming up with all these,
Yes.
you know, creatively violent
Yes.
threats like, I'm gonna sew your asshole shut and keep feeding you and feeding you and feeding. Like,
Yeah.
that's basically what my notes look like at this point.
It's good to get these
Like,
thoughts out.
Right, Kloss, if you're listening, come to Stowmarket train station. I'll kick the fuck out of you. I'll STO you on the train tracks, mate, and then I'll shit and piss on you. I'll flaming palm strike your dad for the audacity of not putting you in a tissue where you belong. I'll gnaw your head off with my incisors and drop kick it into outer space. To be completely honest, I'm not a big fan of his commentary, folks.
You like that video of the of like the British people going, "You think you're slick, man? Wait until I fucking Batista from your grand."
I'll shove an Batista upon your nan in Asda and shove an eggplant up a fanny. That's such a good video. Those guys would be my mates when I was like 19. Like, those are the guys that I hang out.
So yeah, Rob Black, he says that, you know, he calls Juventud a slur, and then he says that, you know, once we have this match, once we win it, we're gonna send you all back to Tijuana.
And
So
Kloss in the muffled voice was like, very racist.
yeah, it's fucked up. Like, yeah, what if I was like, you know, Chris Kloss heard this, then he got in the helicopter and like,
Man. Very racist.
Jerk.
But this is the funny thing to me, is like, it's a thread around like a lot of wrestling, right? Because a lot of wrestling which goes into personal territory like this, wherein, you know, a wrestler is racist, right? Or something or like that, or maybe a wrestler wants to murder this person, and so you'll sort of go like, okay, we'll settle this in a wrestling contest, and, you know, at a certain point, it can work, yeah, but it's just like, it's like Rob Black, this fucking guy who doesn't even like give a shit about the fans, doesn't even seem to give a shit about running a company. He's just like, you know, deciding, oh, okay, if we win this match, then this big thing will happen. I will deport you. Ha ha ha. It's just like, it's far beyond my suspension of disbelief, you know. So I don't know. What did you think of this promo? By Rob Black.
It wasn't a particularly good time for me. Rob Black is not, you know, pleasant to listen to or look at, or, you know, even like acknowledge the existence of. So
Absolutely.
But eventually, Hoovy gets in Black's face. It looks like he's gonna, you know, start fighting him. But then epic swerve alert. He punches Psychosis.
Epic swerve alert. Oh no!
And I guess he's in Black's army now. And Kloss says, "What a puto," as they say.
Yeah.
Say less, Chris Kloss. Say less.
I'm gonna do like, you know, fucking boys. I think he'll come around on Chris Kloss sooner or later, like to fun for the other himself, because it gets really into his bag, you know.
I'll never come around to Chris Kloss.
So yeah, Hoovy just turned on Family, and that's bullshit. And then for some reason they decide to have a match, so, you know, he like just goes over and goes, "Hey, Musco de la Merced, hey, come get some," right? And so then, like, Musco de la Merced gets in, and they start having a match.
Yeah, when I said we figured out, like, I figured out how to pronounce that because of the very helpful commentary. But on paper it looks like Moscow de la Merkt.
Come on, no, Ethan. Come on, no. You're just.
Moscow de la Throttled. Moscow de la Murderized.
Yes, this is beyond the pale, Eva. You're just. Oh. I decided that I preferred to go with the English translation, which is merciful mosquito.
Yeah, that's a good name.
Very reminiscent of the current seedling stable, whose English name is Selfish Strawberries. So, Merciful Mosquito, he comes out and, it's cool. Like, Chris Kloss, like, he just straight up says, "You know where blacks are racist." It's, like, what kind of, like, thing is this where, like, you run this wrestling company, you own it, and, okay, sure, you decide to be the heel guy, but also you decide to bring yourself as a racist. And what is one black doing? What is...
You're asking the wrong fucking person.
So anyway, Hoovy comes out, and it's a really good reminder that his previous is "Crawl again, master." Did you pop big for this song?
Wait, what's that?
Crawling in my skin, these wounds they will not heal.
I didn't take note of that.
Oh, what? Come on now. That's one of the most important songs ever. Come on. That was... come on now.
But where did it play in this match?
It was Juventude's music.
Oh.
Aye.
What?
I'm starting to doubt if you've ever even watched an AMV of Naruto versus Sasuke.
I don't even know what that shit is.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Wow.
Guilty as charged. The only... I mean, that's... Okay, that's AMVs, right? Anime music videos. So...
Yeah.
But I guess the old... the wrestling music videos, so like... I watched... There was one that I rinsed a lot with Paul London with Num/Encore. I used to watch that all the time.
Yes.
Like
Yes.
It's got the Akio bump where he like bounces off the ropes and lands on his neck, and like the cool shooting star presses. Like, yeah, great video.
Yeah, it sounds like a good time.
Yeah, I was never really into like Linkin Park. Not when I was 14. Not when I was like sort of semi-ironically looking back at new metal.
I mean, I'm into them now. I listened to like this In the End song, and I was like, damn, this is a first in my life, perhaps. I tried so hard. Wow. Anyway, this match, it's not very good.
No, I was like looking forward to this when I saw like the card. Hoovy giving it 10% effort, that can be part of his charm, but I didn't really enjoy it in this instance.
Something I've been curious about is that people often, when they talk about Juventud Guerrera, they will designate eras of his career, and often they'll say like, "Oh, Hoovy when he can barely run the ropes or barely do anything," and I'm wondering, is this that era? Is this meant to be like the part where like he just like can't do anything? Because
I don't.
it feels like it.
I don't really know, but I get the sense that it's more he just can't really give a single fuck. Like WCW's dead. There's no sign of him getting hired by WWE anytime soon. Like, he's doing this bullshit. Like,
yeah, I would also not care.
what about Hoovy's really shitty looking chair swing that like barely grazes Moscow, flops down anyway. And the crowd begins
It's
to.
hilarious.
The crowd is not well mic'd up, but we can hear them like begin to audibly turn on this match.
Yeah, it's bad. Like, Mosquito is just kind of there, and he's just like, he's just seeing this guy kind of like lazily like for a chair, and just like, oh, okay, okay.
Have you seen much of Mosquito anywhere else?
No, this is my first match of him.
Really? I watched Triple Mania 2007. He's on that as X-Fly. He faces Super Calo, I believe, in a Westeros match. That was pretty fun, but I didn't get any sense of this here. It's just
I actually did
just
watch
a guy.
the Triple Mania 2007 match recently.
Triple
It was,
Mania.
let's just sit over here. Yes, it's La Parca, El Zorro, Latin Lover, El Gran Sorpresa versus
Rikishi Sabu team, right?
Rikishi, Ron the Truth Killings, and Sabu. Yeah, I watched
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
And let's just see here. My opinion was, yeah.
That Triple Mania is pretty good show. Pretty good show. Yeah, you get obviously the greatest team ever compiled
Yes.
with Rikishi and Sabu. Rikishi and Sabu, their tag name would be Cancelled Ass. Back that cancelled ass up. Put a little cancelled ass on it.
Clap back on that ass. I liked the end of that match because Rikishi, for some reason, he comes out to this very dramatic film score music, right? And he gets the pinfall in the match, and so then his music starts playing, and then R-Truth, he just starts breakdancing to this thing that has no beat at all.
Oh, by the way, I
It's
just
really
realised I was talking shit. I looked up the card for Triple Mania 15. Super Callow faces Superfly, not X-Fly. So I don't know if I've ever seen X-Fly before.
Well, sometimes the most beautiful things are built on mistruths, like wrestling.
I suppose so.
There's a very funny thing in this match where there's nothing, absolutely nothing that Larry does to incite this, I think. But at a certain point, Chris just goes, "And stop mocking me, by the way, Chico." Yes, it's crazy. He's bullying Chico. I can't believe it. And then he's talking about this and that in XPW, and then he segs back into this match by saying, "And talk about very shady happenings." And if you remember, Eva, the second match, this means he's calling Juventud gay.
Oh my god.
Fucked up.
Fucked up if true.
Fucked up if true. So yeah, after this, this amazing chair spot happens where just Juventud does not give a shit to do anything except just with it, and then soon he hits the chair stuff, right, and then
I just realised where I've seen X-Fly before.
Where?
He's in Zona 23 in January.
Oh, aye, yeah.
In the six-way on that show.
That makes
Cool
sense.
shit.
Then. Yeah, that's funny to think about.
Yes.
Here, he just gets chaired, and it's pretty bad. And then a cover is made, and then Larry's like, "Well, the Black Army wins again," and then the Black Army does win again. Good job, Chico.
Yeah, well done, guys. Well done.
Yeah, not a very good match at all. I'm not even sure why it happened.
No.
Really.
Yeah,
As in,
yeah, not well done, guys.
not well done to the boys, who are going to be in Dabak imminently.
So, as much as that match did not impress, it was certainly less torturous than what followed.
Wait, can you actually do a fart sound? Okay. Okay, so then, once again, we have no clear indication of what follows, right? We just see a shot of the ring. Larry, he's like, "Hey, chick, I want to ref this match. Hey, I'm going to ref this match." And so what I think is, okay, this must be ladies, because Larry, he is perverted, so he wants to ref the match and see the ladies and their boobies, right?
Yeah.
So members of the Enterprise come out, and it's Chaos, it's GQ Money, and it's Veronica Kane. Now look, Veronica Kane, she is not necessarily dressing herself to be very revealing or very seductive. I'm pretty sure she's wearing a fucking windbreaker, right? Even so, Chris Claus, he'll just say, "And here come the Enterprise, GQ Money and Chaos," and oh,
Stop it.
I've spent too long thinking about Chris Claus coming to not say it.
I hate it so much.
So, as it turns out, this is a ladies' match, our third ever women's match.
Yeah,
on this,
yeah, in
on
REMP
this show.
history.
Yeah, so it's a buck naked match, right? It's Veronica Kane versus Lizzie Borden, Enterprise versus Black Army, and so
I do want to note this guy that accompanies Veronica Kane, Steve Rosano. He's wearing a shirt that on the back it says, got pills, but there's an apostrophe in that, so it's like got pillars.
Such a perfect shirt, isn't it?
Yeah, that was my one joy from this entire segment. This is where I started like, I mean, I was already really really hating Chris Kloss and like Rob Black, like just looking at him makes me feel like uncomfortable. But this is when I was like, oh man, I fucking hate this show. Because I mean, I don't even really know what to say. I just I never liked, even as like a hormonal sort of teenager. I was never into like the bra and panties sort of thing that WWE would do, and I hate this too. It fucking sucks.
Meanwhile, the commentators sure are trying to get over this as like a big thing that you ought to like. They're just going like, buck naked? Are you kidding me? And like Larry, he kind of just like says it as if it's like like as if we're going to fucking Disney. I was like,
Chico, buck naked.
oh my god! And then
I
Veronica.
helped myself get through this match by thinking about smashing my elbow into like Chris Kloss's forehead, like Lesnar style, like he did to Orton and that time. Like every time he made an orgasmic moan, like this show made me go absolutely Robbo. having daydreams back. I can't 9 precise elbows to the temple.
9 precise elbows to the head. Knock the cut out. So Veronica, she gets on the microphone to say, "Hey, get a good look, because that's all you're gonna see of me." No, this is something that I think is like funny, because like she says this, right, and like she's basically saying, "I'm not going to show my boobies to you," right? And Chris, he's just so fucking like horny, and he's like just like rock hard, like he's just so invested in that. He actually goes, "What?" he's barely listening. He's just like fucking took away by it. And then
so how about Rob Black just keeping up the high concentration levels of bigotry in like a few short seconds? Like he calls the ring announcer a faggot, and then he orders Nasawa to do something before saying something like gibberish to him. It's clearly racist because he's from a foreign country.
Yeah, why is it that Rob Black opens his promo by going just like monkey? Do you have any idea why?
See, I noticed that too, and I didn't know what the fuck was going on. But we do see a monkey later on, which we'll get to.
Oh,
but
so,
yeah, like if he was calling this guy, he took his fucking time. It took like at least 5 minutes.
Yeah, it's a bit of a late stand. So Lacey Borden comes out, longest sustained for her, and like another like go to for Chris is just like goes, "Oh my god, oh," and it's just like it's meant to be him being horny.
What compelled him to think like I can understand that there's lots of fucking horny dudes who go to these shows and want to see like some titty and maybe some ass and maybe even a vagina. But like, what was going through Chris Kloss's mind when he thought, like, what would really add to this experience if I sound like I'm coming throughout the whole thing? Like, surely there's even
I'm
like,
really not sure.
Like teenage boys who buy the tape and like, surely they must be at least slightly put off by this guy.
This is it's sort of like if you attend a talk show live and like you have a plus sign, like I'm going as a sign for you to like start just fucking wanking to this XPW tape. That's your sign.
Damn, I missed my cue.
Oh well, we'll remember for next time we do an XPW show. But
all right.
Yeah.
Let's get this out of the way. I was not keen on the idea of there being a next time we cover an XPW show. I did learn they go to Philly, where obviously CZW is based, and they steal Justice Payton. So, like, I'd like to see some of that. Yeah, they forced CZW out of their venue in like late '02, early '03, before they just die after that. XPW. So.
Aye. That's the point where Shane Douglas comes in and makes it a new XPW, and then they don't do anything. That's cool.
Right. So yeah, I wouldn't mind watching one of the Philly shows, but oof. Down the line, all right, down the fucking line. I need a long sort of cleanse away from Chris Class and Rob Black and all this shit.
So yeah, this becomes a lumberjack buck naked match. So that means that all lumberjacks have paddles and they're outside the ring, and then
they're gonna slap their ass with it.
Yeah, so like and Rob goes off like, and by the way, all the lumberjacks are the Black Army. And then he just walks off and that. Okay, Rob Black, and then the whole thing is if one of these girls leaves ring, they get spanked on the butt with a paddle, and it's just like this is a match where I was quite confused really because like buck naked, this whole thing where if you lose, that's when you must strip buck naked. It's a lot like that one time in TNA 2010 when Daphne lost a fucking game of chance and she had to strip in the ring or something like that, right? However, this is not the case because it's more just like whether it's due to like lack of knowing anything else to do or whatever, they just start taking each other's clothes off, Veronica and Lizzie do, in the ring. And it seems as if were intended to be shown, well, that would be a disqualification or something like that, so that'd be the match over. So the rules, they aren't very well defined. It's more just like, this is horny shit, right? However, it does have some it does have some psychology to it, because god damn it, Lizzie Borden gets out of there, but she's the Black Army, so they don't do anything to her. And Chris Claus, he's very mad. It's like, they're supposed to paddle her on the tuchus.
I did just when I watch old wrestling, I do love watching old wrestling. Probably more than I enjoy really watching stuff from the current day a lot of the time.
Sure.
But when something like this occurs, I just think what am I doing? What am I doing? And usually I would skip this kind of match, but because I have a podcast on it, I just had to fucking sit there. It just made me very uncomfortable. I did look at the card, but I must have glossed over this buck naked match.
Buck naked match. The following contest, the buck naked match. But yeah, this is this should have just been a brand practice match. This is my fucking problem with this. It's not right for him.
That's your problem with it. It should have just been brand practice.
Yeah, come on, give a clarification of rules here, Rob Black, you piece of shit. Come on now.
At this point, I was genuinely considering DMing you and going, hey, you know what? I'm not sure I want to continue this XPW show. I really hate it a lot. And
yeah, I got the feeling that you really hated it. Yeah, this is your Ring of Honor, and you hate Ring of Honor too. So.
Yeah, but I guess it's the same way. This is the catharsis bit. I get to say I get to say my violent fantasies about Chris Class and Rob Black out loud.
It's good to have this space for your thoughts.
Yeah.
I heard it yesterday. All thoughts are valid. It's just when you get to the actions that you realise that killing Chris Cross is also valid.
Yeah, it's just we've watched a fair amount of this stuff. We watch fucking EWAMs, and we can enjoy a fair amount of it. And everyone knows about Ian Rotten's track record and all that, and the sort of people that was generally in those locker rooms. But I thought I was desensitized to it. But man, it hurt. it hurt.
I can believe that, yeah. At this point, there's literally no real wrestling going on. They're just attempting.
You know exactly what this looks like. It's two porn stars. I'm pretty sure they're both in porn, or they were at the time. So rolling around, they're pulling camera shots of an ass.
Yeah, it's conventionally beautiful blonde white women who are doing this softcore scene for each other, and I think it's Veronica's. One of their bras becomes undone, and so they literally have to use one arm to hold the bra up so as to not disqualify themselves from this buck naked lumberjack match. And they literally can't do anything. Then this lady interferes, right? I think her name is I noticed it's also Veronica, and Chris just goes, "What the hell's Veronica doing here?" And Liv just goes, "Okay, let's take our clothes off too." So, Larry, like, he might not be just like loudly ejaculating, but he is also. This is his shit. Chris me might just have a fucking stroke. Just like, oh, you gotta hear it to believe it, folks. And then this show, one of the main things that taught me was that XPW, it resents its fans. It's like we've been saying, it hates its audience. It despises the fact that they came here to see them. It's just like utterly, like, these people are scum to Rob Black, And I thought this came in how they have this buck naked match, this lumberjack buck naked match, just as a thing to be like, hey, come to your XPW show, you can see the boobies, you can see the vagina, and that seems fine enough, right? They don't do a clean finish to this buck naked lumberjack match.
Yeah,
the lights
go out, and I was like, Sabu! My woke king is here to save us. But the lights go up, and apparently Sabu had nothing to do with it. Well, Sabu's cancelled.
The lights come back up and Sabu's there, but his boobs are exposed, so we're like, oh, Sabu, you lose. And then it gets all like, Bod's like, oh. So yeah, lights go out.
Apparently
we don't know
Lizzie won. I don't know how, and I don't care to find out.
Well, okay, so here's the thing, is that because of, like, Veronica gets taken away by the Enterprise, they save her from, like, the whole thing. And this is fucked up because in the opening part of this match, like, Rob Black says, Chaos, GQ Money, you go to the back. Oh, what happens if you don't follow my orders? You'll go back to wrestling in the high school gymnasiums. Get out of here. And so you'd think that this is an order which is quite binding, It's not as if you could just wait until the closing stages of a match and then just come out. But apparently that's allowed, because they just turn out the lights, Chaos and GQ, they retrieve this lady who's almost booped out, and then Lizzie Borden's left in the ring, and, she just, like, that's just it, she wins the buck naked match. However, it's a Pyrrhic victory, isn't it, Eva? Because as a result of this interference, we do not get the buck naked promise of this match. No one gets buck naked.
Yeah, I even took some anger out on the crowd in this. I wrote, the crowd's livid. Haha, you didn't see titties, you fucking panty sniffers. Get to fuck, losers.
Yeah. When you break it down, yeah. So yeah, XPW. I would say this is probably a good impression of it, first impression of XPW, because this is probably what it's mostly like.
We haven't seen anything extreme yet, as well. It's worth noting.
Well, I mean, buck naked match. I mean, that's.
I associate extreme with, like, blood and shit. Don't twist my words.
So then after this, and then GQ Money comes back out. GQ Money comes back out, and he's going fucking nuts. This is the first time we really hear from him. He goes, we fucked you again. We fucked you again. He's just all going all about how, like, he cheated the fans out of, seeing Boopy, and he also cheated Rob Black out of it by cheating the fans, even though that's also Rob Black's purpose. And so, yeah, he's just going nuts, like, talking a bunch of shit, and people are, I suppose if it were mic'd up, they'd probably boo him, but just kind of, sitting there, probably feeling fucking depressed about life, because they've been denied this escape from reality for them. Pro wrestling, this thing meant to, in times of depression, in times of need, they give they put smiles on their faces. They're giving me stories, and yet here comes, like, XPW, and they give them nothing. They give them nothing, not even Booby. Why, Rob Black? So, then GQ Money says his piece. Did you like this promo?
I don't know whether I like this particular promo, but he's a very loud sort of promo, isn't he? He's and he seems quite capable at that sort of role, where I assume he's a manager by default.
Yes, but default indeed, because soon we will see differently.
Yes.
So then, an utterly inscrutable visual after this.
Yeah, the next thing we fucking see is completely free of context. A guy in a monkey suit jump attacks Steve Rosano on his way to the ring. There's a monkey out here. There is a monkey out here. Yeah.
What the hell is that thing?
A 6-foot tall monkey in white sneakers. We have an actual live animal out here. It's a monkey. This is where I actually wrote my note where, like, man, Rob Black really despises his audience. Like, he just thinks they're the worst people in the world.
Yeah,
like,
just testing them.
They have no intelligence. Like, wow.
Go ask for a refund, motherfucker. I dare you.
Yeah, so Kloss is desperately trying to convince us of his monkey's legitimacy. But then he just goes, "What is that? It's a monkey. What is it?" Why did you ask a question and then answer yourself and then ask it again?
You know, I would bet that, like, this is something that Chris Kloss finds funny, is to pretend that this guy wearing a monkey suit is actually a monkey, you know? Because, you know, he just sort of goes, "He's making a monkey out of Rosano." And, you know, it's just like, who knows what diseases he has from the zoo? We gotta get a call back to the zoo there and tell him it's a missing primate. It's just, you know.
At this point, I decided on a whim to search Chris Kloss on Strigger.com. But my thought process was that, even though I rarely see eye to eye with the Strigger morticians of the biggest cage in the world, that I could surely gain a sense of catharsis, right, by reading some of the inmates shitting on this guy. Kloss has 3 ratings, 2 6s and an 8.
Oh!
The one English review reads, "A pretty good play-by-play commentator. Could have been much more successful." And this just sent me into a spiral. I was like, why can't you fucking people get anything right? Throw me a bone, Strigger. I'm fucking begging you. I'm fucking begging you. Like, think to all the people who've never watched, like, Joshi in their lives, but will rush to Strigger.com when finding out about Yoshiko shooting on Yasukawa to rate her a 0. Or, you know, Ian Rotten will get a lot of the same by people who've never, like, bothered to actually, like, watch him. Or even fucking Carlos Colon has, like, these utter geeks giving him a 0 rating because Bruiser Brody's dumbass got himself shanked in Puerto Rico. Like, all these geeks who just go to, like, rate these people 0 on a whim. It's like, this is the fucking guy that you do it for, because he's insufferable. He's the worst in the world. He's the worst. He's my least favourite commentator. I think he replaces, like, man, maybe he replaces, like, Donny B. Even though I've only heard
Donny B.
Donny B. Matt Stryker. He's worse than Matt Stryker. I'd rather hear Matt Stryker.
Well,
and I don't care. I don't care. Apparently, Chris Kloss had the potential to be a great success. The fucking Monty Brown of commentators. Jesus wept.
The Monty Brown of commentators.
Although there was a little bit of pleasure that I got from looking at Chris Kloss's Cage Match profile. I found out he's apparently nicknamed the Expert. So that's fucking funny, at least.
Look, I'm not gonna be on this subject. You know, you're like, everything you're saying is valid, right? It's fucked up when it comes. But the reason the way in which I enjoy him is the way in which I enjoy all of XPW. Just like, you guys are all just like irredeemable pieces of shit. This is kind of funny.
Yeah.
And on that note, the monkey, he gets put in a hole. And then,
what do you think about the monkey's wrestling skills? Isn't he great? Kloss's line where he says, "I don't know who this monkey is, but he can wrestle." No, he fucking can't.
the monkey, he gets
Yeah,
put
he said
in
he
the, and
said
put in the
that
holes.
he said that just as just as the monkey delivers like the shittest Ghostbuster I've ever seen.
Yeah. So the monkey, he's in a chin lock, right? And then he decides, he's gonna get the rope, and then Chris goes, the monkey gets the rope, and then Larry goes, very smart monkey. So it's funny because this definitely does feel like a thing where, okay, either they're really trying to get this thing over inexplicably as a legitimate escaped monkey. It's very large, and he went to the fucking shoe shop beforehand, or they're just trying to fuck around, and I think that's because at some point a fan who somehow is not being just deadened by this entire show, he gets the spirit to yell, "Take the mask off."
What mask? That's a real life monkey out there.
That's a real life monkey. And then the monkey, he makes his big comeback, Eva. Steve Rizzolo, he's been put up a good fight against the monkey, but then monkey, he does the monkey bait, then he does the monkey drop, and then he gets the monkey win.
Yeah, the monkey fucking wins. LOL. He also has an entrance theme. Hey, hey, with the monkey. Alright, great stuff there, guys. And then some guy in a mask, he and overalls comes out. He gives Rosano an epic freaking burning hammer, and then he cuts Rosano's forehead with a box car. That's the first bit of hardcore wrestling that we've seen in this show.
Yes.
In this show, this company, I really thought there'd be more sort of hardcore stuff. We get the one, I guess two. Yeah, we get two matches of what you could describe as hardcore wrestling.
Mm-hmm. First of all, I really like the idea that nobody knew this monkey was coming out. Right? He snuck into the building. He assaulted Steve Rizzono. Steve Rizzono was gonna I don't know, just show off his squatting ability to the crowd here at Grand Olympic Auditorium. But then Monkey came out and then just hijacked the show. But then the boys in the back were like, "Oh well, that's Monkey. He's got something. Let's just have the show go on, Rob Black." And then someone's like, "Oh, we gotta look for our CDs here. Ah, good. We've got the Monkey CD. We can put this on when he inevitably wins." And second of all, the funny thing about the mysterious man who's in a boiler suit who has a box cutter. Apparently, an angle took place previously wherein Chris Kloss was subject to the deviousness of this man.
Good.
He got box cuttered.
Good.
And it's funny because yes. And it was funny because Larry, we just were
Check. That's the same thing happened to you.
and then Chris I know, Larry, I know. He's still very broken up about the whole box cutter thing. I think you should get over it.
I hope he's still having nightmares to this day.
Maybe he is. As someone who's done such sin, how can they go on? Anyway. Oh. I'm really trying to get the exact sound of the fart down because it's like a bassy one, like a little bass one.
Yeah, it's like if you farted into a microphone, maybe.
I'll have to keep this in mind for next time.
What next time?
Just next episode, generally. XPW is just infecting our lives now. And now it's time for our first look at the XPW heavyweight title. Who is in this match?
Okay, so we've got the current champion, Johnny Webb.
Yes.
He might just be known as Webb at this time, but Strigger says he's Johnny Webb. Versus GQ Money.
Yes. GQ Money. he is a super heavyweight. And you know what that means in this podcast? Ha ha ha, he's tiny. And
Yeah.
meanwhile,
They love this shit. Like you're saying, saying that small people are really big. Great joke, guys. This guy, he does a weird dance on his way to the ring. He's got like thinning hair spiked up, like he's in Sum 41 vintage stuff.
yeah, Johnny Webb. Apparently, his old gimmick was that he was white trash, right? But now he is he's a wushu karateka, you know. So he's got his gi on. He comes out to like the, you know, sort of thing that fucking Mighty Inoue would come out to in like 1978, and it's very weird because like Johnny Webb, he gets on the microphone and like his way of speaking, it's quite strange, isn't it?
Yeah, I wasn't sure what he was going for. Like sometimes it sounds a bit like Elvis.
Aye.
But I reckon if I was actually American, I'll probably be able to like identify like what he's going for. Because I'm fucking British, mate. I don't really get it. I don't know like what kind of people he's like really trying to capture with this sort of shtick that he's doing here.
It's just weird to me because it feels like he's doing a joke that only he's in on. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
a little bit. Yeah.
Aye, and like I don't know, the crowd don't seem to get it, and like, you know, I just have written down here in all caps, "Let's go, homos." So I don't know if Rob Black says that or something like that, but you know. Anyway, Webb says that he wants this mano a mano. He says to Rob Black to fuck off. He says, "Hey, it's only a midget, Rob Black. Here, take my belt. I'm not gonna be losing it." You know, so this match featuring a guy who is primarily a manager versus a guy who is just like attempting to amuse himself.
Right, so I've made some
Yes.
very interesting discoveries about GQ Money. When I looked at his Strigger profile, it said he works for WWE, which I thought, surely that's a mistake, that can't be right. But no, apparently he's a creative producer at the WWE Performance Center. And
A creative producer.
he used to... Yeah, I don't know what the fuck that means, but he's working for them, he's getting paid by them. And apparently he also used to be the guy that did the ring intro for the Vaudevillains.
Whoa.
You remember the Vaudevillains entrance where they'd have that guy come out and like do the
Yes, I
do the
do.
shtick? That's him. So
GQ
pretty
money.
fucked up little discovery there.
GQ style WWE.
I've already talked about being at a Simon Grimm's seminar and missing my train because he basically descended into a shoot interview on like Kevin Owens and random shit. Like wouldn't even be useful to a trainee, really. Like just talking shit about Kevin Owens. Like save it for fucking RF video or some shit.
Yeah, like imagine if you're working a match and you're just like, oh no, I'm not sure what to do now. Oh, that's right. Simon Grimm says Kevin was a vassal. And then like you just like do a fucking 4-star match.
Yeah, really enlightening stuff there from the Grimm stuff. I don't know.
The Grimm stuff.
I mean, he seemed alright. He made. I'm trying to remember this interaction I actually had with him. It was like I got into the ring weirdly. I did like a limbo just for the hell of it, and he was like, "Oh no, never do that." And he was like, "Man, I would rather you take drugs in this ring." I was like, "Oh, that's cool. Then I'll take some drugs in the ring at some point." He was like, "Yeah, well, you do kind of look svelte like a heroin addict." I was like, "Oh, okay."
Oh my fucking god, Eva! Eva!
I mean,
Did he?
he said that shit.
Okay, right now, okay, like, right, the whole so don't do a limbo in the ring thing. He does it in an asshole way, right? And plus, it probably contradicts the fucking like, you know, the promotion allied with Gato Move doesn't want you to do quirky stuff, right? That's fucking contradictory. But okay, he's experienced. I'll trust his instincts. But he's like, I'd rather you take drugs in this ring and do that. Fucking Jim Cornette, that's fucking, and then fucking insult. Good grief! You gotta be kidding me, Simon Grimm.
I took it with you, but like looking back, yeah, what a dick.
Unbelievable. So yeah, and,
Your blood sport matches were lackluster, Simon Grimm. That's all I'm saying.
yes, our instincts have been validated by time.
Finally, after like a year and a half, I have my comeback to that comment.
Simon Grimm, I wish it was Yuki Ishikawa at World Sport instead of you piece of shit. Yeah, so this match gets underway, and immediately Larry, he is, asking questions about the heavyweight limit, because he's like, "Gee, I was under the impression that all the heavyweights were supposed to go for the heavyweight champion." And you know what Chris's in response to this is? Nothing. He just ignores him. He just ignores these valid concerns of Larry, and it's quite sad. So, GQ money, this like fucking paper rate, he's able to just like go for the heavyweight belt. There's a cool thing in this match, because soon, like, Johnny Webb, he's a wushu karateka. So there's a point where they face off, GQ and Webb do, and GQ bows before him. And the Webb's like, "Oh, okay." And then he bows too, and they start attempting karate. And, that's pretty cool for like, let's see, 8 seconds. And then other stuff happens. Chris Kloss on commentary just like, what a weakling this GQ is, so it just feels like a very pointless match, don't you think?
Yeah, so like, first of all, I don't know why this guy is fighting for like the heavyweight title. Why is this shrimpy manager guy competing for it? And then it gets even more confusing, because it's like, well, this guy's doing all right. Like he doesn't get dominated and get like little comeback flurry or whatever. It's he's kicking his ass at the start of the match.
Yeah, and like he even does just like a super heavyweight, he does the fucking kamikaze that like fucking Hurricane Kid does. It's crazy, man. Like then just like Webb beats him up with some moves. He does a shell shock to him as well, and that's crazy.
Did we touch on in this episode? Like I know we mentioned it a little bit on the last episode, but Rob Black thinks it's so fucking cool when he says "cut the fucking music."
Oh,
like I did actually write. He makes heel Shane Douglas look good.
Oh, it's so bad. It's so bad. Because CCW, Rockin' Rebels are going with his throat. That's him going, man, I'm fucking shit, right? But Rob Black, he's so fucking annoying with it, because it's not just that like he just goes cut my music. It's always that like he addresses like the tech guy. So it's never just like he goes like cut my music. He goes, cut my music already, Kevin.
Yeah,
it's disgraceful. Utterly disgraceful. Is a disgusting human being. It's amazing that like I can find such humor in like the product of his debauchery. his waste, his excretion. So this match ends with Webb gets GQ in a choke, and GQ starts submitting. The referee, he's looking at GQ tapping and just going, Are you quitting? Are you quitting? Are you submitting?" And while it's happening, Reganer's just like, "Ding ding, and you're a winner." Whoa. So once again, miscommunication between like everyone here. Like they just don't know what the fuck's going on.
If I may jump back to the sort of start of the match, like every time Rob Black orders a wrestler to do something, he threatens them by saying like, if they don't do as he says, they'll be wrestling in school gymnasiums and like never make anything. Like, yeah, that's a great way to make all your wrestlers look like fucking losers, implying that they'd never do shit if they weren't here. So
yeah,
why am I tuning in to watch these guys?
Plus, I can't really think that XPW is that much a step up.
No, I mean,
do you really think so?
I mean, they've probably got like 1,000 in the crowd, but it's not a high standard, is it? No,
absolutely not. No, it's just fucked up. It's fucked up. And then like they decide that they're going to shave GQ money after this. They just pick him up and shave his ass. That's also is it. And then like Webb says some stuff, and like then he just goes, "Thank you very much," and leaves. And so I don't know what this guy's deal is.
I think he was doing a bit of Elvis there. Thank you very much.
He's a real inscrutable, this Webb guy. He's just like a spider's web. I get tangled thinking about it. I'm like a fly in here. A fly for Rob Black to munch up with his...
Well, there you go. That was that match for you.
That's gonna be whenever I like speak myself into a corner. I'm just gonna.
So we
then.
move on to the match that was booked earlier. It's the King of the Deathmatches title, Supreme, the current champion, against the Sandman. And man, I was so fucking glad to see some deathmatch props in there. They didn't go all out really. It's like just a sort of like there's a bed of tacks. There's a thing with nails on, and there's a slightly flimsy looking barbed wire board. But it's a very welcome sight. Like all the mini cornets of the world have given me the impression that XPW is filled with garbage deathmatch wrestlers. But man, I fucking wish it was. If it was, I probably would have got like some actual proper enjoyment from this. But this is the first bit of hardcore / deathmatch that we see.
You've been so deprived of the meal that like even just a taste like makes you satisfied. This is how.
Yeah, I don't want the full meal.
I can't believe how many Roberts we have in our lives now.
He's not fucking called Robert. I refuse to acknowledge this.
Robert.
Okay, you frog. So Sandman, he enters to no music because you ain't getting into Sandman. Sandman will not be entering. Well, he does enter, but well, there's no Metallica. That's what I'm trying to say. I think somebody came out to like a shitty like 1998 Metallica song or something. I think Pogo the Clown did. Like something off like Reload or some shit. Certainly wasn't Master of Puppets.
So Sandman, he's no music. He's like Vladimir Kozlov in there or something. And then like he's got a Bruce Lee shirt on, and it seems pretty cool. And it's funny because you say this match is the one where you thought, here we go. We can really settle down here. It's deathmatch props everywhere. It's great. Deathmatch, love it. Finally gonna get shit I want. And it's the one deathmatch where, Sandman is working the thing where he purposely does not take bumps.
That was it's like calm down. It's like I was begging for a big bump from somebody. Like it does make sense I was able to still sort of get into it because it makes sense with what you were saying earlier. Like he doesn't want to be known as a hardcore wrestler or whatever. He's a superstar, so he's going to try and prove that. But I was kind of begging for the bumps. He's trying to get all the hardcore props out of the way and do like headlocks and shit. But eventually he does get thrown into one of the barbed wire boards.
It's cool because like the way he reacts is to, like the first time he didn't get fully bumped into it, but his arm gets caught in it. It's like shit, And it's like I've never really seen that before.
He keeps like trying to yank his arm away like in the most sort of do not do that way. You know what I mean? if you take a bump in barbed wire, you just kind of like carefully get it all out of your skin rather than just like wildly flail around. That seems like the worst thing you can do.
Yeah, you sort of did it in a way like a mother would go like, no, Jeremy, don't do that. That's very unsafe. Sandman, he's in quite a bind here, because on one hand, he doesn't want to be a hardcore wrestler. He doesn't want to be a whore for these people. But at the same time, he doesn't want to be a pussy. So, a lot going on in his mind, and it definitely comes across in this match where he seems unsure of everything. There's this big bump where, like, you know, like there's a table on the outside that has barbed wire on it, right? And like Sandman is there. It's Supreme, like he just like flings himself over. He's a big guy, so he just goes right through it, right? And
Yeah,
Sandman
it's a funny opener. He mostly misses and like eat shit.
Yeah. Now this is quite funny because I can tell that Supreme does a blade job here.
Yeah, I saw this too.
Yeah, because look, it's barbed wire. It's going to be sharp, right? He does an elbow drop into it. His arm would be cut up and all that, right? Maybe, right? But then he goes down onto the ground, and you see these like big dramatic blood spots on the cement floor, and you're like, huh. That doesn't seem as if that would result from a barbed wire bump.
Well, yeah, I literally started scratching his forehead. So like, I decided at this point that's good because like by hook or crook I'm determined to enjoy fucking this match.
Yeah, this match, like everything, was inspired. Like I think there shouldn't be anything other than the gauntlet which would go over 10 minutes in this, is there? Like everything just like gets right fucking bad, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think so. Both guys get bloated up. We do sort of get the hardcore match I was begging for, even if you know Sandman's like trying to get things out of the way. Like he does get his face fucked up with. I think he was pushed into the nails board earlier on. Then they get straight into the finish. The bed of thumbtacks. It's almost like a little mini sand pit with just like thumbtacks sitting in it.
Yeah.
That gets set up across 4 chairs, and Supreme just basically places Sandman onto it. But oh shit, the big man's going up top, and I was like, oh hell yeah, he's gonna like frog splash or something. It's gonna be awesome.
Oh,
but then fucking Chaos and Rosano, like we haven't seen enough faction bullshit in the show already. Here they are.
The Enterprise.
To fuck it up. Sandman gets out of the way. They give Supreme a kind of team-assisted cutter onto the tax beds, which it still looks pretty alright. But I was wanting that frog splash, man, or whatever he was going up for. The big man delivering a frog splash, but no, we didn't get that. Sandman pins him right there on the elevated tax bed and wins the title. And your new King of the Death Matches champion hates death matches.
This prestigious title has gone to the dogs. I tell you what, my favourite thumbtack spot ever is this thing that I saw on a Freedom show once, where Cyclope was there, and he was just like, you know, looking around and thinking, okay, I better put tape around my knee, you know, double-sided sticky tape. And then what he did was he did lunges into the thumbtacks so as to attach the thumbtacks to his knee, and then he hit his opponent with a knee that was all thumbtacked up. And if I gotta say, the Sandman and Supreme's ventures into thumbtack world here pale in comparison.
Yeah, I couldn't really call this match particularly good by any stretch of the imagination, but by the standards of like how much I was enjoying everything else on the show, except for like the Hamrick part of the gauntlet, it was a fucking godsend to me. Just because, well, there's a bit of fucking hardcore wrestling like you thought there would be.
And then afterwards, who comes out but Major Guns?
Major Guns? I didn't even note this guy down.
No, it's a lady. It's a lady from WCW. The woman who wears like the US flag bra. You don't remember her?
No.
Oh well. I mean, I remember when I was a child, I got bought this WCW book, and this was in like fucking, I don't know, 2005. So it's quite outdated, but you know. Then I just looked through and like, oh, Hollywood Hulk Hogan, Bill Goldberg, Diamond Dallas Page, Major Guns. My goodness. And then you could also like do like here's a maze game. Try to find the outsiders. You just go bed. I thought that was fun. But anyway, yeah, Major Guns a big part of WCW. You know, she was part of the same stable as GI Bro and also General Huge Erection. So you know, her thing was that her guns were her boobies. So you know, she was very she had like that big boob. And like here, she continues this whole gimmick. of having big boob because she comes out and she's just in like a bikini, right? And so of course, like Chris will go, oh, and whatnot. And then, apparently, she and the Sandman are meant to be acquainted, but she is disgusted with the Sandman now. She doesn't like when someone wins a death match through devious means, so she goes right past him, goes to comfort Supreme, help him, and this tender moment of consideration and passion. The commentary don't respect her, just like, wow, booby, and it's fucked up. I just thought about how like most of this show has just been us being ripped off, as in me, as someone who is watching this 17 years after the fact, and has no investment in XPW as promotion, as anything. I could just think wow, this is fucking hilarious. But meanwhile, like all the fans who are there, and maybe they're like, okay, Mom, I'm going to XPW now. Okay, honey, would you like pizza rolls when you get back? No! And then they go out to XPW. They think they're going to have a good time. They're going to get to write on the forums and, feel smug about it. And they just get ripped off. Don't even. It's just so tragic to think about. Indeed. Unless you had anything else to add.
No, definitely not.
Okay.
So, it's fucking Freefall time. It's New Jack. It's Vic Grimes. What we've
New
all
Jack
been waiting
versus
for
Vic
is
Grimes.
attempted murder time.
Attempted murder time. Vic Grimes, he was the ECW guy, right?
Yeah. I think he was in a faction or tag team called Daboldies.
Daboldies, yeah.
Because he is bald.
Yeah. Yes, I think I remember this from my PS1 copy of Anarchy Rules. Did you have that game?
No, I did not. I think I've seen some gameplay of it. It looks pretty terrible.
Yeah, it's pretty terrible, yeah. Vic Grimes in the house versus New Jack. New Jack comes out, he's still got Natural Born Killers as its theme. And it's great. You fucking feel it, Here he comes. It's New Jack. He's got his trash can, and everyone loves him.
The scaffold's kind of. I mean, we've seen it the whole show, but when you're sort of preparing to see what you're going to see, what are you sort of thinking about the scaffold? Are you sort of intimidated by it?
It looks cool.
Yeah.
This the scaffolds, like the NWA sort of model, it feels a lot more like a sort of stable thing. Meanwhile, this here feels something that I'd walk through in Buchanan Street. It's like construction, just pipes and all that. And so this does contribute to a bit of a feeling of I don't know if the word would be maybe danger or whatnot, but it's just something that looks cool. It looks cool to claim up, We've
also got a huge tower of tables, which they might as well have not been set up.
That's right. Yeah, that's the thing, because you see that tower of tables, and it's sort of if someone's going to take a bump off the stage, and meanwhile there's a bunch of stuff down there that would easily suffer their fall, and you're like, oh, okay, they're not actually going to die, I don't care. And so it's a similar thing, but
yeah, to win this match, all you have to do is the simple task of throwing someone off a scaffold. The tables are much less relevant. The majority of you listening likely know what happens at the end of this match and also the backstory, but I will just go into it. At ECW's Living Dangerously 2000, these two fought a match where a booked scaffold bump went badly wrong. According to New Jack, Vic Grimes wanted to back out of the spot once he was up there at the last moment, but Jack sort of dragged him down with him, if I'm going, you're fucking going. And that went horribly, and they fell away with Grimes just flipping through the air and landing on Jack's head, which Jack says, that's given him brain damage, brain fluid was coming out of his nose apparently. He's forever blind in his right eye, he was never the same after that day. So Rob Black, thinks let's put these two in another scaffold match because he's a cunt.
Yeah, let's capitalize on this.
He just wants to shamelessly capitalize on this terrible incident which happened.
Yeah,
where,
yeah,
know,
it's
there'd
definitely
understandably be quite a lot of bad blood there.
Yeah.
So I would assume that most people listening sort of know about this stuff, but I think you probably only know about this stuff. And I'm gonna be like, who is it who says sneaky good? Whose thing can we attribute that to?
Dylan Hales.
Dylan Hales. Right, I'm gonna be Dylan Hales for a sec, and say this is actually sneaky good until they climb the scaffolds, because
Snaky good.
yeah. New Jack is fucking. He's great. He does one type of match and he's fucking great at it.
Do you like his promo?
It's weirdly babyface, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like the best respect promo ever because he's all like he respects the fans because they've always been here for him. Like when he got like fucking like got caught in a court case again, it goes not guilty as fucking usual, and like he'll go yeah, and it's really cool. And then Vic Grimes comes out and he seems like a fucking insane person.
I forgot a bit like New Jack proudly says in the ECW match that he didn't give a fuck if Grimes died or not, and that in the XPW match he was actively trying to kill him. New Jack, truly the definition of he's just coming out and saying it.
He's just coming out
there
and saying it.
There's no better example in professional wrestling of just coming out and saying it than motherfucking New Jack.
Yeah. Do you ever get that thing where like you hear about like some sort of like injury and then like just like without consciously wanting to do it, you just sort of like simulate it in your mind and like you start feeling like slight phantom pain of it. So just imagine like if I were to fall off a scaffold and then someone else whose velocity is vastly increased by their flipping through the air then decides to headbutt me, and then I've got my brain looking at my nose. That'd be kind of bad, Anyway, yeah.
I can have sympathy with someone who gets booked to do a scaffold bump, and like I guess they would like okayed it obviously, but once you get up there, that's a whole different thing. And if you're fucking scared, you might want to just go, hey, I actually can't do this. Can we try and do something else? And New Jack's like, no, motherfucker.
Yeah.
So I mean, I have a bit of sympathy with both in that situation. It's just a horrible thing, really.
Just a horrible thing, sure, yeah.
New Jack's a guy I can safely say I wouldn't like to have like a beer with. But I do think he's really cool in the wrestling sense. Like,
yeah.
First of all, having natural born killers play during your whole match, that goes hard as fuck. It's a shame the WWE Network dubs over it and saps the fun
It really
out of
is,
his
yeah.
matches on that. He has really fun weapon brawls, which are always wild as shit. And even if those aren't your bag, like, there's literally no reason whatsoever to not recognise him as like legit one of the best promos of the 90s. He's fucking outstanding at it. Outstanding. He can do like angry ones, fucking emotional ones. He's the best.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the first things that happens is his signature keyboard bump. So he gets the keyboard out of the trash can and he just smacks that shit over Vic Grimes' face and all the keys go everywhere. And
it looks great.
Yeah, like call back. You were talking about how we were gonna talk a lot about how Larry he pronounces like the Y's as J's, and he goes chick, you got mail, and then Chris is like what, and then hey, you got mail, like the internet, and then Chris goes, what does Jews have to do with it? So yeah, just like one of the final bits of commentary we ever hear in this show, and wow, don't they just go on a strong note?
Did you know that during New Jack's entrance, he's carrying like a rake made completely of barbed wire, and as he walks past, he's completely careless. He almost just like scrapes this crew member's face or whatever, and he just like this crew member just has to like protect himself with his hands.
Oh, that's cool.
He just doesn't give a fuck. Like, as far as Jack's concerned, was concerned, he wasn't even there.
Yeah, pizza cutters. Pizza cutters come into play. Like, at first it's just like there's one pizza cutter that we slice across the guy's head. Oh no, pizza cutter. Oh no. But then
I've always been a bit confused about pizza cutter spots because, pizza cutters, they'll cut your pizza. They won't cut much else.
They're very dull, aren't they?
Yeah,
I
you
suppose you'd
rub
have
that across your hand. It's not like you're gonna get lacerations.
I suppose so. It's very possible to sharpen it. Yeah.
I suppose so. Yeah.
And then they bring out the quintuple pizza cutter, which is 4 pizza cutters on a row on one thing.
Yeah, this was cool though.
And I think it's Larry just says, "Oh, for the very big pizza parties."
When you've just got to cut 4 pizzas at once, presumably really tiny ones, because there's only a few inches of space.
Hey, this is exactly what I was thinking. Imagine if you had 4 pizzas and you're like, "Oh, if only we had a way to cut all these pizzas at once." You wouldn't bring out a thing that's just 4 pizza cutters in a row, because I'm just that wouldn't do anything. Oh. Rob Black. But yeah, this quintuple pizza cutter is a very good idea, and they just sort of beat each other up with that. And see with scaffold matches where the object is to throw your opponent off a scaffold. Do you ever have any issue with the whole thing of why don't you immediately go up the scaffold?
Not really. I guess you try and gain a little advantage the first, but of course, I mean, there's no way you can just drag a lifeless human body up an entire scaffold. So I suppose that they have both got to climb the scaffold independently, which they do, obviously. So, I suppose you're kind of right, but I really appreciated this. This brawl in the beginning. I wasn't anticipating. Even though I knew New Jack could have really fun matches, I wasn't anticipating enjoying this match in any way. But I do think brawling is a truly great, misunderstood style of wrestling.
Absolutely, yeah. And this is shown more when they brawl up to the stage, and then there's this big carton of water, about a pint I think it is, and New Jack throws it on Vic Grimes. And then it's oh, I threw the water on him. And then Chris goes, distilled water. That's more dangerous.
That'll hurt more, yeah.
And so this is the reverse of the CCW main event, because I look at this brawl happening, and I look down. 7 minutes left in this video. How are they going to fit whatever else into this thing? But they manage it.
Yeah. So yeah, it's really cool. Lots of weapons. They use New Jack uses the barbed wire rake as a whip. I think that's really cool. There's lots of great usage of weapons here. All these what culture hacks, with top 10 times wrestling went too far or whatever lists. They never think to add the asterisk that, hey, this was actually a cool brawl to begin with, guys. You never do that, fucking the disgraced Adam guy, Adam Blampier. You weird sex offender. I'm shaking my fist.
Just imagine the ways in which hairy wrestling fans would depict wrestling going too far.
He'd write a poem about it and then message a 15-year-old. Oh, did you see? He's just he's back on his personal account now. Nothing happened. He just DMs. He just he's just a reply guy to girls now.
Yeah, that's true. And he's just
he's still out there, guys. If you wanna abuse, hold on, let me find his at so you can abuse him if you want. I officially advocate the abuse of fuck. Oh, I haven't got the right laptop. Never mind. If you want it desperately, DM me.
Heavy wrestling fan. Yeah. It's 2 a.m. I can't think of a nice stanza wherein I weave in hair wrestling fan regarding XPW critically, and also including his whole thing of having 15-year-olds follow your account where he posts dick pics. It's too much for this time of night. So anyway, Rick Grimes decides that he's going to climb, and that's New Jack's like, okay, you want to climb? I'll climb. And then we get to the thing which it's you can't deny it. It's cool, like to climb this scaffold. It's very high. It's the biggest bit. It's like 44 feet in the air.
Yeah,
Goes up to the point where
I've been through a fair amount of shit in my life, and I don't fear too much these days. But heights never been good with them. Wouldn't go up there for all the money in the world, man. Never ever.
I fear a lot.
That's okay. That's okay.
Yeah, I try and say I don't fear, because I want to be like my idol, Woody. But
Well, I'll tell you what, I feared DJ Hyde. Like having a bad reaction on the podcast or something. I feared DJ Hyde.
You can have the baby.
And heights. And wasps. That's it. That's it. That's all I fear.
That. I've had training in how to do this shit. So, but yeah, like if I were to, I'm trying to think about times that I've been at great heights before, and maybe I've had intrusive thought of I could just fall off right now and die, and then I just sort of look over it's probably not like fear as such, but it's sort of like the gravitas of like, whoa, this is serious shit here. So like that, I probably feel it for scaffold. It's
I always used to be really bad with heights. I mean, I guess I still am in some ways, but I have done some like, what do they call that thing where you're like strapped up and you hold on to the thing and you slide across this big wire from a height.
That'd be like rappelling or zip lining, something like that.
Yeah, slip bailing maybe. Yeah, I've done a bit of that, and like it took me a couple of minutes to gut through. But I used to be like really bad with it. Like I couldn't even be on the second story of like a shopping center without like, because they'd have the barriers, but the barriers were glass, so you can just see all the floor. Like I was like, I hate this.
Yeah, absolutely. Remembering now, like that one Hitchcock movie where James Stewart is very afraid of heights. Like Vertigo, it's called.
Yeah,
Vertigo. And like he tries to overcome by like step by step. He like gets on top of a chair. Like, oh, you see this? Oh, I've got it licked. Huh? I've got it licked. And then like he looks out the window and like it's 6 stories. Whoa! So, back to step one for James Stewart. And for Vic Grimes, right up to 40 feet in the air. And, this is one of those things that, like, I think there's a lot of moments in wrestling in which there'll be a famous thing that happens, and it's so famous or infamous that, like, you forget that there's a bunch of other stuff that happens that, like, never gets mentioned retrospectively.
Yeah.
The only example I can think of now, and it's not really accurate, but it's the only one I can really think of, is how, like, people will go, oh, WCW, the Yeti, that was an all-time, you gotta be kidding me moment.
You gotta be kidding me, WCW.
The official, you gotta be kidding me, of the week, from Chemical Slaughter. And so people say the Yeti, humping Hulk Hogan is bad, right? They say it so much that, like, sometimes they don't even mention, like, the whole monster truck battle that happened beforehand. You know what I mean? As in, like, that thing which in itself is so crazy, like, gets overshadowed by, like, the other thing. I think it's the same thing wherein they get on top of the scaffold, these two, right? And New Jack, he pulls out a stun gun.
Yeah.
As he starts using the stun gun on Vic Graves. He is shocking this man. I heard none of this.
Yeah.
And all the time I knew of this match.
Yeah, I don't know if it's gimmicked or what, but it's something. Also, the scaffold's wobbly as shit. Shit made out of jelly. it's really it looks really uncomfortable to be up there. Obviously,
What's been on your mind, Diva? Are you hungry?
Shit's been on my mind. Or jelly. Oh.
Are you hungry or something?
No, I'm alright, actually. I'm alright.
Chris, he says he's got goosebumps on his toenail.
Thanks for that disgusting image, Chris Kloss.
Yeah, Chris Kloss said this. Fucking toes. So, yeah, and like Larry, meanwhile, he's like, you know, quite. I feel as if he's almost akin to like someone who is, you know, giving directions to like astronauts in the control center. They're trying to hold it together, but also really like nervous about like,
Chick, don't let him do this to you. Chick.
so, you know, he's saying it to Vic Grimes, and then unfortunately, damn it, Eva, Vic Grimes lets New Jack do it to him.
Yeah, it's I have seen this before, obviously, but it's been a few years, and wow, Jesus, a horrific fall.
Yeah.
Grimes like sort of like skims one of the tables, but bounces horrendously off the top rope, back
Horrendously.
first, and I guess actually bouncing off the top rope kind of saved him in a way, because if he went a bit further to like the floor, boom, you're dead. Jack in the interview says he was aiming for the ring post, so
Yeah, so like, if you remember, I think Owen Hart fell about 90 feet, and he just like went right to the turnbuckle, you know. So, New Jack been studying his tapes.
I suppose so. A lot of my interest in wrestling sort of growing up was quite morbid, because I would have like looked for the Owen Hart footage, or like I think I have actually watched Over the Edge 1999 just to see like the start of it, and then see like how shit changes. And obviously you don't see Owen or anything, but yeah, it's like it's quite morbid. And the fact that I had this show on my hard drive, it's like, yeah, I guess I was I was into the morbid stuff back then.
Yeah, I can imagine it driving you. Like, you know, definitely a lot of us, you know, look for that stuff. I'm thinking that anyone who's, you know, been on like image boards, even just like maybe like a forum of like maybe 2000s, they went on there because they wanted to just like, you know, after a childhood of maybe who knows what, they just want to like see a bunch of like crazy shit. They want to see people just like, you know, fucking dying and all that, you know. I mean, like that I got accounted for like a substantial amount of like internet culture when like I was like, you know, 8 and going on the Encyclopedia Dramatica, just like all this stuff, you know. And so it's very easy to just go down this hole. And I think, honestly, I think a lot more people will have been down this sort of path than you might assume, maybe, you know.
Yeah. Just remember like watching the Over the Edge pay-per-view and just feel like, oh yeah, that's where like Mankind was fucking. You can't see he's crying because he's wearing his mask, but he's like just staring at the blood spot that Owen left in the ring and just fucking weeping while he's on the apron and for this shitty tag match that he still has to do. It's like, yeah, morbid shit.
For the shitty tag match, yeah.
The crowd, though, they seem oddly pleased at this clearly horrific bump.
Yeah, the crowd seem like they've, you know, been pleased. You know, it's a free fall as promised. You know, Vic Grimes, he just rotates in this way that people aren't meant to do. You aren't meant to see people do that, but he just does it. He just comes out and does it.
He just comes out and does it. Medics immediately rush to him while New Jack pumps his chest in a cocaine frenzy.
Yeah. Like, the last ever commentary here is him just going, ah! As this happens.
Yeah.
And then after that, they're just...
Well, Rivera goes, chick! Because that's how he reacts to every fucking thing ever he's ever seen.
One final sign-off, Chico. Let's do it. Chick!
Yeah.
And then, after that, like, the ring announcer, you know, that guy who's apparently gay, according to Rob Black, he just sort of goes, you know, oh, okay, thanks for coming out, everyone. you better clear the building because we need an ambulance for Vic Grimes, who has just fallen. And
it's cool that there wasn't an ambulance already hired. Like, isn't that a...
I thought you've...
Yeah.
Oh my god.
They're calling an ambulance. They're gonna host a big fucking scaffold match and they haven't got one ready.
Rob,
you fucking buffoon. So,
Oh,
yeah,
I
I
do-
mean, I know as fans of, extreme elements in wrestling, we like plenty of nasty shit, and I think I would be popping too if you went through that, stack of tables beautifully as designed. But
aye. Kill him,
seeing a
so-
guy bounce off the top rope from a third height definitely crosses that boundary where it's not like enjoyable. Call me old fashioned.
Well, yeah, as in like it's talking about it now, it does bring back that sort of like own feeling of like you watch like the Blue Razor interview that he did about fucking facing the Godfather in an Intercontinental title match. He is dying during while this is airing. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
fuck.
Yeah, and like you just have this thing of like like gazing into that abyss. So yeah, then the calling of ambulance for Vic Grimes. And New Jack, he is triumphant. He's won. He's the king of XPW right now. And what else did it say about?
Yeah. So yeah, this match, it was good until it definitely wasn't anymore. 4 1/4.
Yeah, this is true. So XPW, this is both our first show. I took liberty of leaving a review on Stringer.com of this.
Did you?
Of this show. Yeah. I suppose I should read it out.
Cool.
Just go over to my Cagematch profile. Okay, so this piece of shit called Giant Kamala 4 wrote on 10/11/2019. 7.0. This show is pretty fun.
7, Connor. 7.
Excuse me, I'm
A
reading.
7 out of a total of 10. Just to remind you, not 100.
Rob Black seems like just an utter piece of shit. A self-important scumbag whose vision really only consists of him being the one to get first pick when playing action figures with his pals from school. Luckily, the result is often funny. Chris and Larry
Are you trying to do an impression of yourself?
on commentary are very often absurd, provoking confusion, a roll of the eyes, or just laughter. The matches themselves are not that much. I'd say though that if you seeked out and put an XPW show expecting work rate, then you are crazy. What I expected was some US wrestling school training stuff with a big night of sleaze and trash, as well as no sour. And I got both.
Yeah, you had to drop in the sour there. Classic Connor. Nasawa didn't do shit, Connor. He didn't do shit. He got racially abused,
Yes, he
that's
did.
it.
He existed. That was enough for me. Anyway, the overall best of the show from the buck naked match. By the way, if you watch WS6 and had a crush on Chris Glass, you get to see more orgasm to the break alone in this show. From the buck naked match, ending in a non-finish, to the GQ money promos, plural, to the multiple turns of job confusion with regard to fists and heels, as that you are stupid for watching XPW. They will not justify your investment, nor make any of your hopes come true. This is a good morale, even if New Jack sending the fans home happy with a scaffold bump does ruin it a bit. The Grand Olympic is a really cool looking venue. 7 out of 10.
Wow, this is the worst person we found on Cage Rat so far.
Yeah, no, right? What is this deal?
I can't believe you gave this shit a 7. A 7.
What did I tell you? I had a fun time.
I wasn't expecting work rate just to get it out of the way, but I was expecting. Well, like, XPW and CZW were in obviously this big feud, especially when it wrapped up once ECW had sort of died. I just think, like, how could anybody in the fucking world prefer XPW to CZW? I don't understand. Like,
Yeah,
you'd
if
literally
you watch this
just
and you
have to
get,
be
like,
from California.
like you. I feel like honestly, this show is just like so despairing, isn't it? Like the only value you can get of it just like fucking laughing at these people, laughing at these assholes, just like fucking about, and all just seems so useless. And like, if you weren't laughing, you'd just be thinking, man, this world sucks, you know? It's just crazy. And I'll try to remind you, that doesn't mean I don't do my reviews.
So,
but before that, overall, XPW, your thoughts, Eva, before I do this.
Right. So, how many sittings did this take you? Did you watch it in one sitting?
Yeah, I did.
I watched it in about 5. Because I enjoyed it that little on the whole. I'm not opposed to checking out some XPW stuff in Philly, but I would like to get to a lot more things before we do that. The first thing I did after the main event finished was delete this show from my hard drive. Finally, after 4 long years, I watched this show, and I felt that sometimes curiosity should be left at that. This was mostly a torturous experience for me, with not nearly enough upside to counter the intense levels of scumbaggery I found within. Chris Kloss is the worst fucking person I've ever come across ever. I've never had so many violent fantasies from just listening to a wrestling commentator. Rob Black is a fucking rape-loving hack who should be executed on sight. Can't watch half an hour of ECW and thought, I can do that. He can't. Do not watch this show. I also decided to take a page out of REMP Legends Wrestling Stats 1's book and give you this show's assets and its flaws. So,
please do.
Assets. I'm never going to turn down a Psychosis match. Hammer X bumps are great. We all know this. Supreme seems pretty fun and has likely had better matches. The beginning of New Jack vs. Vic Grimes is more fun than anywhere else it's likely to tell you. Flaws. Fucking everything else.
Hey, everything. Come on now, you can't just cough it like that.
Everything. So, Connor, your summary, please.
Well, okay, wait, at least give me, what is it, career potential of XPW.
Career potential in my recycle bin.
Wow.
I'm just coming out and fucking saying it.
Okay, so with this in mind, here is my review of all these matches in short form and thus correct form. I'm on sugar.com and put off up front, I'm trying to use all these words. They're not mad. I'm getting into real shit here, okay? So, here we go from the first match onwards. Just when I thought I was up, they pulled me back in. Monkey. And that's that.
7 out of 10 from you. 7 out of 10 from you. I think I have a little document where I keep track of every full show that I've ever seen, and I gave it a 2. So, but probably the biggest sort of difference in opinion here that we're ever going to get. I would be surprised if we ever get one sort of bigger than this.
How long have you been maintaining that document for?
Since 2015. It's got a lot of shit in it.
No, I wasn't laughing at that because I just realised that there's there's 2 other reviews of XPW Freefall on Cage Match. Perhaps we can end on this.
Right.
One is just this thing of saying it's bad. 1.0, that's fine, right? Whatever. But Purple Tentacle, Roton 22/2 2016, a 3.0. Okay, right. Steve Rissono wins the match against someone in a monkey costume. Why was this omitted from the results?
He's so furious. Was that really not in the results?
It is in the results.
Oh, so he actually went out and changed the way that he changed Cage Match.
You know what? What's his name? Let me fucking see this guy's name.
Purple tentacle. He's got Striga right in his hands. Right in the palm of his hands.
Oh my god.
Meanwhile, me, I just feel like every day the grip he has on me just gets tighter and tighter. Striga, Rob Black, Robert from Cage Rats. Okay, wait. We gotta end this like on a positive note. See, what?
Deuce, deuce.